Good morning, everyone. Welcome on this beautiful rainy day. It's cool, rainy, and it is not snow. That's one of the best things. Before we open these, I'm going to ask Thomas Bolton to lead us in a word of prayer.
Sure. Let us pray. Dear most gracious Heavenly Father, what a joy it is to come here today and serve you in this capacity as elected officials. And I pray, Lord God, that you would put wisdom upon us that can only come from you. Help us to govern in a way that's glorifying to you, good for those whom we serve, and for the betterment of our county and our state and our nation. Lord God, we thank you so much for those that you've put before us that protect us. We are mindful of their call to the service of our community. We pray that you would put a hedge of protection around them. And Lord, we're thankful for those who will stand up for those who are not able to do so themselves. Thank you so much for each and every one of them, Lord God. Lord, we also are mindful of those in our community that are hurting. We continue to pray for Miss Crawford's daughter. We pray for healing upon her. We thank you for the healing that you have put on Jamie. We thank you so much for that. And we continue for that restoration of health, Lord God. Lord, thank you for our loved ones, our family members. As we have just gone through the seasons of being thankful, may we not stop being thankful every single day of what you've put before us, Lord God. Lord, I love you. Thank you for loving us. Go before us now. We pray this in the precious name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Let's call this meeting to order by saying the pledge to the greatest flag on this earth.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What y'all make last night?
That's it. We get down in the morning. Oh, it's hot.
Good morning, everyone. Before we start these, we have a few amendments to the. We have a few amendments we need to make. First is we're going to amend motion number 13 from the December 13, 2023 minutes. On the motion, Jason Harper, duly seconded by Tyler Davenport, to approve the trade of a Caterpillar 120M motor grader, inventory number 2287, valued at $110,000, for a 2024 John Deere compact track loader, valued at $110,000, at a total cost of $0. We need to amend that to read on the motion of Jason Harper, duly seconded by Tyler Davenport, to approve a surplus Caterpillar 120M motor grader, inventory 2287, valued at $110,000, and to trade said equipment for a 2024 John Deere compact track loader, valued at $110,000, for a total cost of $0, per Commonwealth of Kentucky Master Agreement 758.
Motion to approve the amended motion number 13 as presented.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on this item? If not, roll call, please.
Davenport.
Yes.
Goodwin.
Yes.
Wilcutt.
Yes.
Harper.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Bolden.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. The other amendment is to the agenda is to add the reappointment of Lloyd Houchins to the East Logan Water Commissioner for a 3-year term to expire 1/8/27. We're going to move that as item number 14.
Motion to remove the agenda and add item number 14.
Second.
I have a motion second. No further discussion. Roll call.
Davenport.
Yes.
Goodwin.
Yes.
Wilcutt.
Yes.
Harper.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Bolden.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Next up is approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there anything we need to discuss? If not, roll call.
Davenport.
Yes.
Goodwin.
Yes.
Wilcutt.
Yes.
Harper.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Bolden.
Yes.
Baker,
Yes. Okay, let's roll on through. The representative from the Logan IDA will address the court. Brooke, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be on the agenda today, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Here.
Thank you. I'm here on behalf of Logan Industrial Development Authority. I believe you all have a resolution in your packets, and just seeking adoption of the resolution that's before you. This resolution supports the submittal of an Economic Development Fund application to the Kentucky Economic Development Cabinet for improvements for West Industrial Park.
Make a motion to approve this resolution.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. And while you're up here, you brought a guest with you, didn't you?
I did.
All right.
Today I have with me Brittany Dawson. Brittany is Logan County's small business coach. She's from the SBDC, and she does have designated times in our Logan County office. So she meets in the chamber boardroom from 10 to 2, the second Tuesday of each month. And that's a service that is provided Logan Economic Alliance for Development and the Chamber of Commerce here in Logan County put funds together to provide this service. It's for small businesses. It's a free service. Anybody who's interested in starting a small business, who has a small business and wants to expand, Brittany's available and can contact our office if anybody would like to make an appointment or have time to speak with her.
I would suggest, from what the work I've seen that she's done, if you have a small business and you're one development stages, that you speak with Miss Brittany. She does wonderful work.
And for clarification, small business, I always have to say this because it kind of, I didn't know this. Small business is anything 500 employees or under. So that covers basically everything in Logan County minus a couple of big industries. So
if you want to,
anybody's eligible to talk
if you want to open a business with 450 employees, we're going to welcome it, and we're going to get
Absolutely.
Brittany to help you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Next up is a representative of the Logan, yeah, you called that, didn't you? The representative from the Logan County Humane Society will address the court. I believe this is Julie and Renee.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Julie Martin, and this is Renee Thompson. We were elected on December 18th as the president and vice president of the Logan County Humane Society. I know most of you. Thomas is my representative. Ann and I know each other from Corral. Jason on our board. Travis and I are acquainted through music. Or Tyler and I are acquainted through music. Sorry, Travis. But we are here to, we want to thank you guys for having us on the agenda today. We are here to talk about the situation that has developed out at the animal shelter and make sure that everyone has all of the information you need in order to be able to make appropriate decisions out there. So we're here today to ensure that you all realize that the photos that were shown on Facebook were a true and accurate representation of the situation at the shelter. They were not exaggerated, they were not staged, they were not overstated. We can all agree that there was a perfect storm of events in the month of December that culminated in a terrible situation out there. There were disease outbreaks, there were quarantines, there was understaffing and a lack of funding, which all led to an extreme overcrowding situation and an extreme downward spiral, especially in the last 10 days of the year. This here is just so you guys can have a bit of an idea of some of the things that we were dealing with during that last time. Oops. Sorry. This is just a timeline of ongoing events for that last week. Jason has seen this already, so.
This is sort of a diary, if you will,
Of what was happening during
that both Julie and I typed up of events that happened so you can get a flavor of this. This is your bedtime reading.
Yeah.
This will help you with a glass of warm milk put this on your night. I'm teasing. She's looking at me like
She's
I'm
teasing.
crazy. I'm teasing. No, you can.
But you can go through.
You can go through this
and take a look at this at your leisure. It will just give you an idea of what we were dealing with during just 1 week of what was happening there. This situation of drastic overcrowding in shelters is the new normal in the entire shelter world.
Yeah.
There are 250,000 more pets in shelters now than there were at this time last year. We are not going back to an era of shelters being undercrowded or below capacity. We must be prepared, all of us working together, to take care of more and more animals, for more and more animals to be picked up as strays after being either dropped off or turned out by people who no longer want their animals or that are surrendered directly to the shelter. Every shelter in Kentucky is currently over capacity. All of the ones surrounding us have been at red line almost consistently for months and months and months.
Our Warren County Animal Shelter has taken in 11,500 dogs last year, as reported by their shelter director.
So just to give you an idea, in 1 day alone, just last Saturday, we had an attempt for 6 dog surrenders. People trying to give up or rehome their animals every single day. We get multiple calls from people wanting to surrender or rehome dogs or cats. We come to the shelter in the morning to find them dropped off, left at the gate, tied to the gate, or dumped over the fence into a kennel. Now, the concept of, well, we can just adopt them all out. The reality is that we adopt out 30 dogs, we get 35 in. And that's where we are at. So we're not here to lay blame to anyone about this whole situation. What we are here to do is ensure that all of the facts are understood by you and that everything is in the public record because we want to be transparent about this situation. So between December 18th and the 30th, Renee and I, either together or separately, met with Judge Baker 4 times in person and had multiple phone conversations and text conversations about the state of the shelter. We feel that we've developed a good working relationship with him, and now he has a very real understanding of what needs to be done. And our goal here today is to help you all have that same understanding. So when the county took over the animal shelter in August or September or whenever we can say the official takeover was, there was no real plan and no real understanding of what it takes to run the shelter, which is perfectly understandable because most people don't understand what it takes to run a shelter. There are a lot of misconceptions. It is not like taking care of your animals at home. I don't care how many you have. So since the shelter director that was originally hired was fired, there was no one there to do those functions. And the Humane Society since that time has basically took back over much of those responsibilities, but with none of the funding and none of the authority that go with it. So since then, Humane Society employees, board members, volunteers, some people who are here today, have been spending 50 to 100 and more hours a week out at the shelter in an attempt to keep things going. But we simply can't, and we shouldn't have to, do that on a regular basis going forward. So we're here to help impress upon you that the county must find proper funds for properly staffing the facility. So to help you better understand the time requirements, because most people don't understand how much time it takes to care for each animal, that Renee has put together a sort of an outline of what it takes to care for a dog and a cat in a shelter. It's not as simple as taking 2 seconds to change out a puppy pad or just pick up some poop every once in a while. There is a lot of work and a lot of time commitment that goes into properly caring for the animals. So this is broken down into,
Go ahead.
do you have one?
Go ahead. Yeah, I thought
This
I
is,
had enough.
this is broken down into daily, daily tasks, weekly tasks, and sort of monthly occasional tasks that need to be done. This covers just the basics. Oh, that's why.
That's
And
why.
head two,
Thank
that's why.
you.
Realized I hit two.
Thank you.
So this covers just the basics. There is a lot more that would ideally be done. I didn't want to bring it today because it's a 64-page document, but I do have a checklist that I will email to each of you after today that shows, comes from an animal welfare society that works with shelters that breaks down what must be done, what should be done, what it would be nice if you could do, and what ideally, under perfect circumstances, would be done. So I'm going to send that to you by email so that you can look at that to get even a more detailed idea of what actually needs to happen. So Renee is just going to sort of quickly walk you through a little bit of what goes on at a shelter during the day.
Well, we're going to experience it. I don't like to sit in meetings, do you? You see some towels there on the table, and would you take a washcloth and pass it on to the next magistrate, please? This is your towel.
That's okay. I'm fine.
Judge already knows this.
Judge already knows this. Okay. You'll see that there's two sheets that I've given you. On the second sheet that's blank, would you turn to that, please? And would you, across the top of the page, do me the favor of putting these 3 letters? Are you ready? You got your blank sheet, and you're going to put C on the left-hand margin, and that stands for communication problems. Communication problems. Across the page, going to the middle of the page now, would you put a T for Tom? That stands for training problems. And then on the far right corner, would you put an M for money problems? Because you are servant leaders. I have seen a servant leader work this week, and that is our judge executive. He's experienced it, but you haven't been out there. So we're going to experience this particular shelter in Logan County, and I'm going to ask you, as you listen and follow along with the estimated times required to complete the general animal care and shelter maintenance, if you will keep track I will give you the tasks, but then I'm going to pop in. So it's like real life. I'm going to pop in a situation. It could be a good situation, it could be a bad situation, but unfortunately, in the last 2 weeks, it's going to be some bad situations. So on that second page, if I pop into this estimated times required to cleaning a kennel, and you hear a problem, would you decide, and by deciding, put a check mark on that second page, and we're going to total this up at the end and see what problems we have that are communication between the board and the Logan County Humane Society and the Animal Control and Care, and which are training problems that we might have where staff don't know what they're doing, or if it's money problems, like we just need some money to fix something. Will you keep track and put a check when you hear each one of those problems? So are you ready? Put on your seatbelts. We're going to go through a day at the shelter. All right. I sat down, and with the help of Phil's, there was a timeline in some of his paperwork. I used that as a source, and I also used as a source my experience being in the shelter, and also some things from the ASPCA. All right, here we go. Keep track now. Oh, the towels. I didn't tell you about the towels. We've had 2 people quit on Thursday. As I go through this list, if you become overwhelmed by a day at the shelter, guess what you can do?
Throw in the towel.
Throw
in
it.
your towel.
He gets a You get a cookie today. You get to throw in your towel. So if we're going through this and it just gets to you, you wouldn't want to have this job. There you go. Thank you for starting it out. He's got the thing. All right, let's move through this quickly. All right, now for the purposes of this discussion, we're going to use a population of 50 animals, 50 dogs, that is, and 20 cats. We are above that right now. We are at 92 animals. But we're going to use for this demonstration that you have to work with some people for 50 dogs and 20 cats. And from this, we're going to decide how many full-time employees we need. That was the general purpose of the exercise. Okay, so here we go. You arrive at work, it's a good day, you've had your coffee, you're ready to clean the dog kennels, feed the dogs, water the dogs. You have 50 dogs, and you have about 15 minutes to clean all of those kennels. So
Each kennel.
Each one of the kennels takes about 15 minutes. Well, you might say to me, well, Renee, I could clean a kennel. Come on, 15 minutes. Well, let's see what we have to do. We have to take the dog out of the kennel and get him to a secure area. Then we have to, what do dogs make? 1.75 pounds of feces a day. So we have to get in there and get our shovel, and we have to shovel it out. And then what do we have to do? We have to use a cleaner on that, but we first have to wash that kennel, and then we have to, for 5 minutes, have a product called Kennel Sol to rest on that concrete and to make sure that it's clean. Oh, but are we done yet? Oh, no. We have to get the watering pail for the dog, and we have to get the dirty one out. And then we have to get the clean one put in with the clean water. And then we have to get the food put in and take the old food out. Oh, but we can't just say, goodbye, dog. No, we'll go over and we have to give a little bit of TLC to the dog, and then we move on. Now, to do that, that's about 15 minutes. That works out to 750 minutes a day, 12.5 person hours a day. Now, let's go on to the cat kennels. We're going to go into the cat kennels, and now we have 20 cats. Oh, we have a lot of seizure cats. There's 14. What does that mean? Well, on November 16th, we had a hoarder from Adairville that we brought in cats. Okay, oh no, some of those cats have worms, we just discovered. So we have to do what? We have to go down to medicating, making a mental note that number 6, we have to medicate some of the cats. We clean out the cats, we get about half the cats done when we realize somebody forgot to tell us we're out of litter. Well, what do? We're out of litter. Well, we decide we're going to scoop the rest of the litter out, and we're going to have to make a little note to buy some litter. All right, so now we're going to sweep and clean those facility floors, and that takes us about an hour because the way that the floors are draining, there's urine in the floors. We've got to get that out of there, and then they have to be cleaned. How much does that take? Oh, that's about 1 personnel hour. Now, all of these animals we try to make comfortable. We either have straw for the outdoor animals, or we have little blankets for the animals that are inside, or little pads. Well, those have to be taken out, and what do we have to do with those on a daily basis? We have to wash them.
Lots of laundry.
Lots of laundry. Last year, I helped secure a washer and dryer from a donor in Arizona during the puppy rescue. We have already broken that washer, ladies and gentlemen, and had to get another one, and that was September of 22. Let's move on. Remove and clean food and water bowls. Well, all of those water bowls have to be put through a 3-point system. We cannot let any organic matter stay on those bowls. So we have to scoop all the litter out. We have to oh, they poop on their bowls. These dogs and cats don't know any different. They poop on their bowls. So we have to wash them with Dawn, rinse with hot water, and then soak them in a bath of Kennel Sol for a period of time so they're sanitized. That takes a little bit of time, and how much do we have on that one? Now, are you keeping track of the problems here, if they're money, if they're training, or if they're communication? Make sure we're doing that. And I'm proud of you. I haven't seen any more towels go in there. All right. We have to medicate any animals because, oh no, Somebody told us when we walked in today, there was a hole in one of the gates, and 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 dogs got out and were fighting with each other overnight. Your fellow employee had to go get a catch pole to catch those dogs, but he could only find one working catch pole because the other one's broken and hasn't been replaced. Oh my. So we get these dogs and determine, one of them was on the bad end of the deal, and he got chewed up. So where does he have to go? Where do we have to take him?
Gotta go to the vet.
Got to go to the vet. All right, so let's take a look here. We have to restock supplies. That's a half an hour. We have to spot clean. We have to exercise and socialize the animals. We have to intake animals, usually about 2 a day. But the people who were doing the intake on the animals have quit. And you don't know how to do an intake form. Uh-oh, what do we do? Administrative duties, adopting, tracking animals on the phone. Yes, the personnel, the office, office work is office work, and that's got to be done. That's about a half person a day. Closing activities, waters, meds, clean office area. I can tell you how frustrated I was the other day. There's a puppy up there. He's a pretty puppy. He's red. He barks all the time. I got that clean, that nice, that cage he was in. It was perfect. It actually sparkled. It sparkled. And I went around and did a couple more dogs. I did the 3-legged pit puppy who barks all the time. By the way, the decibel noise in a kennel with the barking with 70 dogs is 100 decibels. What is a motorcycle? 90. We need to get sound
canceling headphones.
Yes, thank you. All right, now some kid who was with his mom in the shelter went in and made a mess in the bathroom. So the last thing that you get to do in your day, I don't know, I might see some towels now, cleaning the restroom, because that's a public restroom, and that kid went in there, I won't talk about finger painting, but it was bad. So that's about 0.25 hours. So we need people. We need personnel, because a woman and a son cannot, for 7 days a week, clean this place. I had open heart surgery September 18. Yes, I had a triple bypass. Yes, I never had high blood pressure. Yes, it was the health event of my life. But I'll go up there and work, but I don't have the stamina I used to. So, servant leaders, that takes 36.05 person hours a day. As I figure it, geez, oh man, 4 full-time employees and 1 half-time employee. Now, this is a 7-day operation. Cats do not stop defecating. Dogs do not stop defecating. Oh, and they get hungry every day, and they have to have water. Now, ongoing activities that the shelter has to do. Servant leaders for this, we have ongoing activities that represent 1 full-time employee and 1 half-time employee. What are those? We have, our goal as the Logan County Humane Society is to adopt animals and get them out of the shelter. We have to have well animals. That's why we're in this crisis. They're all sick. Nobody wants at Fix Foundation 14 cats with ringworm. Nobody wants a dog that was in a parvo shelter and we can't confirm that it's clean. So our job is transporting animals and adopting animals. That's what we do. That's our main focus. Now, when you come to the shelter, you want to have an experience. Do you want to walk in and see waist-high grass? No. We need to mow. We need to repair fences. We don't want those 3 dogs getting out again. We have to inventory supplies. We have to transport to the vet. Oh, and the next one. Let's get in the 21st century by having a very robust social media and advertising for animals, but we've got to find the people to do it. I'm a digital immigrant. I'm not a digital native. I'm not as good at that stuff, so we've got to find some young people. All right, we got to communicate with the judge, and we have to communicate with you. because we respect the hard work that you do, and you're sick of problems at the shelter. This is one tiny thing. What we do is one tiny thing of your responsibilities.
We know that.
We know that. And look at your time that you have so graciously given me this morning. Thank you. Now, whether you know it or not, I used to do motivational speaking and training for a living. My last gig was at the Department of State in Washington, D.C. I used to teach our ambassadors. So you got subjected to me this morning, Jamie. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go to our sheet. Where are the problems that you tracked as far as communication? See, most problems in an organization come from communication issues between parties, training issues where people don't know what the heck they're doing and stuff falls off, and money. What did you find, Jason? What do you have? Where's your biggest category? Money problems. Okay, how about, I'm sorry, your name?
Ann.
Ann, Miss Ann. How about how did you track?
Money.
Money? You didn't track it?
I tracked it, but
What?
money is not.
Okay, what did you find?
I don't like throwing money at a problem.
Well, I got you, pal.
Yeah.
I am so cheap I squeak.
Yeah.
Go for, I'm a German.
Communication,
Hey,
communication is a big
communication
issue.
training, absolutely.
By
And guess
far,
what?
number one.
Guess what? You have free labor with me. I'm not working right now. Ooh, do y'all like free? Hold up your hands if you like free. Okay. If you had to pay me, I'd be $1,200 a day, but you don't have to pay me. Ain't it cool? How about you, sir? Excuse me.
Lack of leadership from Humane Society.
Lack of leadership from the Humane Society. Okay, is that a current problem that you see with Julie and I, or is this a historical perspective?
I think it's historical, but I think it's still pretty recent to where we're not ready for this.
You're not ready for what, sir?
For this conversation that we're having. I mean, it's very recent leadership issues.
And yeah, and we definitely
And I really like y'all's energy, and I think y'all are going to do fantastic on the board. Okay, but it's for me, it's still pretty fresh that the Humane Society has failed Logan County Fiscal Court.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that we've all failed each other.
Yeah.
And by doing so, we've all failed the animals.
Yeah.
Our goal here
Is
is
on the
to
animals.
simply help you guys understand how much work it takes, because now, and when we say we mean the Logan County Humane Society and the Logan County Animal Shelter. What we're doing is trying to bring you all up to speed on where things are at currently. If we are going to move forward, we all have to be like dogs and be willing to let go of the past, see where we are now, and how we can move forward to make all of this better. Because there are statutes governing the state of a shelter, and they must be followed. They are Kentucky statutes, and currently the animal shelter is either was, or is in danger of being in violation of those existing statutes. When that happens,
This is what I
then the
Everything in yellow, we have been in violation.
then the Kentucky Humane Society gets involved, and so do the state police, and we do not want to have that happen. So
This is what we.
the goal of Renee's exercise is to help you understand the amount of staff that it takes to properly run a facility, and that does take money. It also takes time for training, and it takes time for communication, and all of this, we're not advocating just throwing a bunch of money at the problem. We understand, we believe now, the full scope of the issue, and we must bring things, all of us need to work together to bring things back up to a standard. We all know that going out there, that the building is in atrocious shape, and it really must be fixed. And we recognize that as the fiscal court, you don't want to just go out there and put lipstick on a pig, as I've heard the saying. I've been in this court while my magistrate, Thomas Bolden over there, has said that he does not want to see another dime put into that court. And I know that a lot of people feel, or put into that building, and I know that a lot of people feel that way. There's a lot of people who really dislike that building, and there's a bad history in that building. But we can't think about it as just a building, because it isn't just a building. It is a home for the county's dogs and cats. And these are God's creatures that we are tasked with caring for, all of us. So you, as magistrates, need to properly see that that home is properly taken care of, so we at the Logan County Humane Society and the Logan County Animal Shelter can properly take care of the animals that are in that building. We all want to build something new, fantastic, but until it opens, this building that's out there must receive proper care and maintenance, and the staff to have that proper care and maintenance. Because neglect of that building is akin to neglect of the animals. They cannot receive proper care if the building doesn't receive proper care.
And we can't adopt them out.
Right.
We can't get them going.
Because we can't get people to come out to the building. Basic maintenance at this point has been neglected so badly that it has now turned dangerous and in one case even deadly. In the month, near the end of December, there are multiple broken drain covers that will tilt, are not secured properly, and the combination of a broken drain cover and a clogged septic line allowed a puppy to move that, tilt that, get caught in the drain cover, and drown in the feces water that was there. The lack of quarantine spaces meant that animals couldn't properly be treated for the parvo infections. The kennel doors were held together with bungee cords and zip ties and baling wire, which, as Renee said, allowed 3 dogs to get out after hours, get into a fight, and all require veterinary care.
But I would like to say that those have all been corrected.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm getting to that,
Yes,
Judge. Don't worry.
yes, we're there. We're right
The
here.
fencing on the kennel fronts was so old that dogs were able to push their noses through, work the wire apart to a point where they could stick their entire heads through and possibly hang themselves. There is exposed wiring. There are outlets that can't be used because they are too close to water. There are holes in the walls, holes in the door. There's floor tiles missing, causing uneven walking surfaces. There's no smoke or CO2 detectors or fire extinguishers anywhere in the building. And the front door didn't even close, let alone lock, until a volunteer fixed it on Sunday. Now, no other county building is allowed to get or remain in such a state, and no other county building holds living, breathing creatures.
That's well said. I like that.
In the past, fiscal court has always, every time that a director has come up here and brought maintenance needs and requests, the fiscal court has always approved them,
Yeah.
and we appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Thank
And
you.
we truly hope that that continues with the new director that is in the process of being hired. We have made great strides with the emergency funds that have been allocated. Many things have been fixed, many things that have been repaired, but we cannot wait until July 1st when the new budget comes into effect. These problems are not hypothetical or theoretical. We all share the goal of keeping these dogs and cats and employees in a safe environment. And that is why we are up here to urge you all to find, to reappropriate, and reallocate the necessary funds for appropriate staffing and the continued repairs and maintenance until the next budget comes into effect and you're able to properly and appropriately fund the shelter in the coming fiscal year for 2024-2025. Now, I'm sure you have questions. Does anyone have questions they would have for us?
I have a comment.
Ann, go ahead.
I recommended you for this. I talked to you about it before, and I've recommended since then. But to me, going through the chain of command, usually a person in a line of authority goes to the people who can help them by not insulting them. And,
No, go ahead.
And it would seem to me that you came in and said everything on Facebook was true, but you had not brought it up to us. An employee that works for you should be told, don't put something to the public until we've talked to the people who can fix it. But that did not happen. And instead of you coming in and saying, I'm sorry this went on Facebook before I could talk to you, you say it all was true, which, whap, across the face of 6 people plus the judge. Now, I found that offensive. And then the 3rd grade admonishment that we got, Motivational speaking aside from DC, am I surprised? But the bottom line is to insult us first and then ask for help is anti-solutional. Now, I am all for. I have tons of people from my district that call in and say, can you do something? And I've said, absolutely. I've got someone in mind who can do just that. I feel very good about her. So I'm glad you're where you are. But you proceeded to insult this court by assuming we are idiots. Now, my daughter nearly died in Florida, and I just got back last night in order to be here today for this. For this. So it is an insult for me. Now take your paper. I taught class, I've taught college. So please, the bottom line is what you just told us would have sufficed very well. Not the way it was presented.
Well, I'm sorry.
And
that-
no-
yeah, certainly, please, please, please. You have the floor, sir, ma'am.
I'm about to relinquish the floor. But if you want my help, please come about it from a way that solicits my equal feeling of concern. Because I did have equal feelings of concern. I do have equal feelings of concern. We have animals ourselves. And I care. And I absolutely support something that can be done. But I do resent being insulted. And I relinquish the floor.
Okay.
First of all, let me say it was not our intention to come in and insult you at all. It was our intention to come in and help you understand what has been going on out at the shelter. And if you felt insulted, that is, I take
It was the way it was
responsibility for that.
presented.
Well, I understand that, Ann. And it is the post on Facebook. I didn't want to get into all of this, but the judge and I, the person who made that post on Facebook was a part-time weekend employee who was told to, that we had things in hand, that we were coming to fiscal court on this day, and that a plan was in motion, that we were working with new funds, new emergency funds, but a part-time weekend employee doesn't necessarily always know the full scope of what is going on in an organization. That was something that should not have been done. We were all very upset with the way that was handled. We had a plan to bring all of this into the public record in an appropriate manner, and the way that it was handled by this employee who has since quit was an inappropriate way of bringing this all to the public forum.
Do you realize we've all been getting calls
Oh,
because
I
of
know.
that?
So have we.
And
I
came
understand.
to
Everybody
try to
has.
help, but I would have thought your first thing was, I'm sorry this happened. No.
Well,
Well, we are sorry. We are sorry this happened this way, but the fact is that that is what was happening, and the way that it was brought to
was
the public
inappropriate.
attention, while it may have been an inappropriate way for it to have been brought out, that is what it was. We didn't have anything to do with that. We have been receiving just as many calls and just as many insults and just as many positive and negative comments. How can we help? And we get just as many, how can we help? And we're here to help. And how can we volunteer? And what do you need? And we get just as many, you're horrible people, you should burn in hell, how can you do this? This is all. So our goal with this is to just get everyone on the same page with what is happening at the shelter so that you understand, because I've also heard comments, people thinking that it was all staged. That, oh, well, this is something that they just took the worst possible pictures to try and make things seem in the worst possible light. And that's not what it was. Those were a true and accurate representation of how things were at the shelter at that moment in time. It wasn't before that, and it's not anymore. But during those last couple of weeks of December, it was horrible out there. And people just broke. And that's what happened. There was emotional stress of taking care of these animals combined with the parvo outbreak that simply had people who were not emotionally equipped to deal with what was going on. Working in a shelter, it's not all puppies and unicorns all the time. And
It's tough.
people want to come out and work in a shelter to play with the animals, to bond with the animals, to help the animals. And it's not always an easy situation, and there are times when difficult decisions have to be made.
Yeah, and if I can interject, my style is to be enthusiastic. That does not always align with the personalities of my learners. I don't know you, but what I tried to do today was to have you experience this. It was so deadly and so awful that I thought if I came in here and I brought that message, that it would do nothing but bring you down. So I tried to develop a little exercise where you could experience what we have been experiencing in a way that was engaging, to have you help me decide if they were communication, training, or money problems. And if any of you felt that I was condescending or talking down to you, that was not my intent. My intent was to engage you. My style may be not the same as your style. And for that, I promise you something. I will do a very analytical approach, if that is what you want, to any kind of presentations that I bring to this court. That is my solemn promise. Now, as far as this gentleman here, I will make myself available to you if you want to talk to me in private about some of the things, or anybody else, that you could coach me to be a better volunteer for you guys.
I'll make a comment, but I know we got a sheriff that needs to make
Sure,
that-
sure. We don't want to,
didn't
we're
wanna
not
be
trying to
here.
monopolize.
Make sure
I
the
want
law
to
is
address
being
these
followed, and the
concerns.
jailer needs to keep them inside, so, they gotta get back to their respective offices and everyone else, but, you know, you said this was not intended to be a finger pointing or lay blame on the county, but it's been pretty much that. So, let me, and so, just to, you know, kind of, I know history doesn't matter at this point, but it does for us. So, us six on this court, we cannot do anything outside of this court. I can't go down to the Humane Society and say, clean this place up. What is wrong with y'all? Well, y'all get to it right now. I don't have that authority. Only authority that I have is 1/6 or 1/7 of a vote sitting at this table. So from this point of view, we have to make business decisions
Sure.
that is best for the taxpayer's interest. While I am an advocate for animals, I love animals. I don't want animals to be mistreated. I don't want them to be in poor conditions. But from our perspective, you know, for years past, where I was even on court, the Humane Society was able to handle the business of the Humane Society on $92,000 in donations. I know that's been a little while, okay?
And the change of animals being turned over to shelters is also, it's a new day.
Yeah,
It's a new
right.
day.
But there was a pretty good population there at that time. But so when Jason came on court, me and Jason came on at the same time, he was put on the board. And at that point, it was too far down. It was too far in the dumps, okay?
Yeah.
So Jason did all he could to you know, and poor Phil here, he's walked into the brink of a disaster, you know? So, you know, he's inherited just nothing but a straight up disaster.
Yep.
But for the county, from a business perspective, or from a perspective of what's best for the animals, why would we not want a contract with the Logan County Humane Society? Those people are professionals in the field of caring for animals. That is their profession.
Who's they?
Well, the Humane
The
Society,
Humane Society.
Humane Society Board.
We're the Humane Society.
Right, but y'all are animal advocates, and y'all are professional animal, y'all know all about
Advocates.
this sort of
Yeah.
business, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what better position for the county than to have a contract with Humane Society to handle that 100%? Because we have no worry, okay? Humane Society, they're trained, they're knowledgeable in this field, they're going to do what's best for that animal. And that's what we had for many years. And then then was when I came on court, and there was this contention, well, we don't have enough money, we need more money. So we did that. We went up to 100 and something thousand, and then we ended up at 120,000.
Yeah.
Well, that still wasn't enough money. So we were in the process of saying, okay, why are we having to spend so much more money than before? And, you said you need 4.5 employees, but at one time, the Humane Society, and this has been recent, has had 8 employees.
Yeah,
And
I'm not advocating.
and that's a lot. So the money was just being drained, and then I had people come to me and making comments such as, and I believe it's pretty factual, that money is missing. Humane Society has money, thousands of dollars they can't find. Hundreds. We're in the six, okay. So for me, as a representative of the taxpayer, if this organization is missing thousands of dollars, how can I continue to have a contract with them and give them $120,000 a year? And so that's why this relationship was severed. It was because of the lack of leadership of the Humane Society Board and the lack of hiring the proper person to lead the shelter. And like you said, every time anyone comes to this court, ask for something, ask for repair,
Yes.
we approved it.
Yes, absolutely.
And if we knew about it, we approved it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you have to understand why this court, at this time, this point of time, we do not want to be involved with the Humane Society. So, I don't want you to take us insult, because I think you two are new, and I think y'all are going to do great. But I think you've got I think you're at the beginning stage of doing something great, because you're so new at revamping everything. It's going to take some time before the county can build our trust back with the Humane Society that that they will do the right thing for the animals and the right thing with taxpayer dollars. And that is and I agree with everything Miss Ann said, and I don't think it was y'all's intent to insult us today, but at the same time, I don't think the timing's well. If we were in this 2 years, the county wasn't giving Humane Society any money for 2 years, but this is pretty recent. This is when,
Oh, yeah.
it's been very recent.
Yeah, we have no money
So,
from y'all.
I think if we were 2 years into this and the county has taken over and we were still not showing any direction of improvement, then by all means, y'all should be here giving me a 3rd grade lesson. But today, I have no intention, and we tried when the county first took over. We had to do it so quick because of money issue. We can't continue to give an organization money that we don't know that they are
Being
taking
fiscally
care of them,
responsible.
being
You're right.
good stewards of the money. So we had to immediately sever that relationship.
You're right, and you did the right thing.
But it was a bad time because we didn't have the staffing, and it was just so much built up, and little at a time, we're trying to gain the momentum. But I think, we have to stand on our own for a little while, and staff it ourselves.
We agree.
And just, we can still have a good mutual relationship, but I think business-wise, my opinion, for now, I don't want to do any business with the Humane Society.
Well, that's not what we're asking for, and that's not what we're advocating. And you are absolutely right, Tyler. The Humane Society was a mess. There was severe fiscal irresponsibility. We are actually, and if anyone would like to know more about it, we have our Humane Society board meeting on Monday the 15th, and it's open to the public at 5:15 in this room. Anyone is welcome to come. That is part of what we are here for in the Humane Society, is to get it together, because there's been so many years of fiscal irresponsibility and lack of oversight and lack of leadership, and I don't disagree with you on any of that.
And
There
like I
was
said, I think y'all are
tremendous problems, and that's what we're here for, is to fix those problems. What we
Look,
want
we've got a lot of stuff to discuss. I understand. We've
Yeah,
talked about
let
this.
me-
We've talked a lot.
I'm just going to wrap up right here.
Thank you.
What we are urging you to do, the Humane Society does not and is not asking currently for any funds from the county. We are urging you to fund the county's shelter with appropriate staffing.
Yeah.
And appropriate, to continue finding the appropriate funds for the maintenance of the shelter, so that we don't run into this situation again.
Yeah, this is for the
We don't
shelter.
get
That's for the shelter, not for the Humane
Yeah,
Society.
we
What
don't
I-
get any funds, and we're not asking for any funds. The Humane Society has to build a new reputation of fiscal responsibility, which is where we are at going forward.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that in our board meeting.
We really,
And just so you know, Jason has a copy of it on the next meeting. The whole first section of the meeting is about
Fiscal responsibility.
fiscal transparency and,
Yeah.
and conducting an audit, perhaps a
past.
forensic audit.
Yeah.
So we're well aware of what happened before, we just don't
I
know how. and
appreciate you
had said
guys,
it.
and I think y'all are well on your way to turning this around.
Yeah,
I
we
really
are.
do. And I appreciate y'all coming and talking to us, mostly.
But we just want to
But,
urge you to work with what the judge and has been working on with the director that's been in process of being hired.
Thank you all.
This
Yeah.
needs to be in the paper.
I
This,
did that.
put it in the paper.
In the newspaper?
People need to
People need to
see
know.
what
That's
you
an excellent
need.
idea.
Excellent
People
suggestion.
need to see
Yeah,
what it takes.
What the shelter needs.
A lot of the people
Yeah.
that call would volunteer. If
And
they
we're
see
developing a new
this.
volunteer
Excellent
program.
I
We've had a
think-
lot, we've had a
Yeah.
lot of volunteers, and
Well,
with
just
that
so you
being
know,
said-
Ann, I wrote that, so I'm not all lollipops and
No, I
rainbows.
didn't
We would, and if any of you would like to come out to the shelter and see what we're talking about in person, we would love to have you as volunteers. And we would love to give you a tour of the facility so that any of the things that we've spoken about today, you can see firsthand. I apologize for taking up so much of your time today. That was not what we had planned. But it's an important issue, and I would love to speak with any of you personally about any further questions
Yeah.
you have, and about if any of you would like to come out to the shelter and see what we're talking about in person, then that would be great.
Please don't you two throw in the towel,
We're not.
because
Real
We're
clo-
here.
Ann, I'm going to tell you, I've never been talked to like this in a meeting before, and I'm real close. So you and I need to talk off.
Well, the bottom line is,
Talk offline.
that's fine. The bottom line is, two very highly qualified, highly motivated people is what we need. And I think that is a good beginning.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah, and we're just at the very
Thank
beginning.
y'all. Appreciate
So-
it.
We have down, thank you,
Yeah,
Julie, I appreciate
thank
it.
you,
We have some stuff to talk about, but it's a new business, but we have to keep moving on. Thank you for your time. Next up is approval of bills,
Motion. Second.
Approve bills as presented.
and I have a second. Any further discussion?
We're still paying the $500 a month to Joey Young on the rental. Do we know when we're going to officially?
Yeah, as soon as we finally get our the new cooler we'll be able to move everything as soon as that is.
Who knows? I got you.
Yeah, it sucks. It's stuck somewhere in transit. Ben and I have been in discussion trying to figure out when this is going to get here, and we have not seen it yet. So it's in transit. As soon as it gets here, we'll get it hooked up, we'll get it taken care of, and everything. Yes, sir.
Sounds great.
I had a couple of questions. One, I noticed one of the bills was about repair to the boiler. Is that the same boiler that we at the jail?
Yes.
That's the one that we
I think
fixed.
HMC determined what the problem was. The issue's been the regulator. According to Lochinvar, it's required 2 separate regulators going to each unit because there's twin units. There was only one. Well, the regulator wasn't letting the appropriate gas pressure to maintain the proper volume, and water columns needed to operate sufficiently. It was the losing temperature on the return. It caused a lot of moisture and condensation. It's fried all the internals. The cascade board is messed up currently. They've got them working one at a time.
They can't work in sync because of that, because the temperature wasn't.
So it's
maintained.
fixed. It's fixed now.
So they got the regulators on and some other parts replaced, but yes.
Other question I was gonna ask Judge was about
Yes,
the
sir.
Courthouse renovation. I noticed there were 2 invoices.
Yes.
But on different, I guess one, like what status of that renovation, but 2, I noticed they were sort of in different columns.
Well, we had two, we bid that out for 2 different sets of
okay,
work.
I'm sorry.
So that's, yeah, no, it's no big deal. And that's what they were. There were 2 different things they did. Even though we're here and they've done everything at the same time, and by the way, they've done some great work
Are
on
they
what
done?
they had done.
Are they done?
Yes, they are complete with that phase, but we have a phase 2 that the building committee and I need to speak about. But I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Nope.
Do we have to say?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, I'm sorry, wrong meeting. Roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
On the
Yes.
board no more.
Harper,
Amen. I mean, yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. All right, next up is roadwork request. And as, in case you haven't noticed, Pee Wee's over here. He's gonna be taking over for Kelly. But anyway, roadwork, well, hang on a minute, Pete. We're,
Okay.
well, this is a roadwork request. We'll come to that in just a minute. Thank you,
Just stay
buddy.
where you are if you want to.
Thank you, Eric.
It all goes to you.
Hey, you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, District 1.
District 1, Pee Wee, Kelly and I met out at Old 79 Loop in Palmetto back when it was warm. And he had planned on making it a winter project for, we got some permission to do some ditch work right there across the road to make that deeper and to properly ditch that and then go over to that other property. The owner, the gentleman approved us to use his property. Has Kelly brought you up on that at all?
Just a little bit. I haven't
Okay.
got with him yet to get it all. He had mentioned it, but we were gonna go look at it.
Okay, all right. So anyway, he said it was a winter project, so I just want to keep it fresh and hopefully we can maybe get started on that pretty soon. I'll catch up with Kelly too, maybe, and you as well. But other than that, continue maintenance. Appreciate everything.
Yes.
District 2.
There's a tree that is on Sam Mason Road. You know where Gunnarsson lives on the left up there? It fell out of that woods and it's laying over in the road. So, and other than that, thank y'all for everything.
3, sorry.
Continue maintenance. Thanks for what you do.
4, I'm sorry, guys, just
Oh,
roll
you're
on.
good. Same thing, continue maintenance.
Trying to answer questions. Miss Ann?
You all have been trying to fix a problem on Cemetery Road. The road, since it's been paved, and they're not ungrateful, since it's been paved, the water tends to go down the hill and under the house on 2830. And you all had put almost like a speed bump to try to divert the water. But the gentleman has called me twice since our last court meeting to ask me about that. And he then called me yesterday on my way back from helping with my daughter. He said they put a second speed bump in my daughter's drive. And he said that really, and I told him I was going to say, listen, I'm going to thank them first because they're trying to help you, okay? So that needs to be first. But he said, actually, my daughter's car is catching on those speed bumps as she tries to come out of that steep driveway. And he said, is there anything we can do, like maybe put a ditch there instead? He said, the water is running over from the other side of the road and coming down. And actually what he wants and what I'm hoping to be an advocate for is something that can be done to keep the water from running under her house. So
It's at the bottom, I know where you're talking about, it's at the bottom of the hill. That's been an ongoing, we've had several.
that's what it is. That's what I saw too.
You know, we'll
So-
go and look and think, I don't know. We may have done about all we can do, and if it is, we'll go and look. If it's something we can do, we'll do it, try to do it.
I told him, I said, I think they'll try to work with you as long as it's accepted that there is that ongoing problem, and then we'll go from there.
It's just down a big hill.
Yeah, a big hill. So, thank you for efforts that you've been making. That's all.
District 6.
Montgomery Road, I have a dead tree that needs to be looked at about cutting down or cutting back. It's between Ethan McGuire and Mr. Taylor on the east side of the road. Continue maintenance. Thanks for the good work.
All right. They are doing some great work out there. I need approval of road work request.
So moved.
Second.
And a second, good. No other discussion, roll call?
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilco,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Next up is our elected officials. Sheriff Stratton, please come forward if you have anything, that is.
Need to get the December fee report acknowledged.
Make a motion to acknowledge the sheriff's fee report.
Second.
A motion is second. Any further discussion? Not, roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilco,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Sorry, there's
Chatter in there.
a lot of chatter back behind us.
The only thing I wanted to bring up, which I don't know if it's the timing's bad or not, but from November to the end of December, we had 108 animal complaints and pickups. So animal control is staying very active and busy. So just want to pass that along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
108.
Yes, for November in 2 months. It was 2
And
months.
December.
So we're averaging about 50
I want mine.
a month.
Which brings a good point that the problems we're having and overcrowding is people.
Yeah.
They're not taking care of their animals.
They're
It's
not.
a people problem.
We've seen an uptick in,
Right.
we can no longer
Yep.
take our dogs, we need help, we don't know what to do, so. We try to work with them on that, if they need food and stuff. Travis has been very good about trying to help them and maintain, but, people are struggling and they're literally just letting them go, hoping somebody will come pick them up.
Yeah.
Exactly what it
We've
is.
got a couple of criminal cases he's working on, but he's very busy, so he's doing a very good job.
We appreciate it.
If you, I
Thank
have
you.
a question about,
Go ahead.
if you don't mind about that.
No.
I mean, what is our obligation?
That's a good question. I get asked a lot. Me and Travis talk about that a lot, and that may be something that, I feel like that what I have told Travis is, if someone calls, we respond and try to deal with it. I don't know the answer to that, honestly. The thing is,
I want to answer. We need to follow the law and nothing else. We are not equipped, trained,
Right.
or have the facilities.
now we don't
to
take many.
one animal in
Yeah.
that is 110% not necessary and required by law.
Right, and we do that.
We're just in a bad position.
The thing is, in one case, that for fact, the guy said he had called animal control prior to us taking it and said, I can't keep these dogs. And they said, we're not coming. So he let them go in his subdivision and we had to go pick them up.
Well, that guy needs to be criminally
Yeah.
charged. Okay.
And that is something that we are looking with, but that's the problem that we're faced. Now, on my end, you're exactly right on your end. And I 100% agree with that, but on my end is people call and you're not doing this, and I said, well, we can't do it. We're not obligated to do it. They still get mad at me.
Yeah.
So we try to mediate and figure out a solution that's best for them and what we're obligated to do and not do. So again, that's a very sticky situation, and I don't think there's a total answer to solve.
We're
the
still
problem.
in the learning stages of all this.
Yes, we
because
are.
The Humane Society wasn't doing the calls.
The county
So-
is no doubt wants to help the citizens in this situation. And we are limited. We are as a court. I'm limited, but that's, for you to know what we're trying to do, that's what we try to do. we're in no means taking dogs because someone calls and says, I just can't do it no more. We try to figure out how to balance that. And we tell people we can't. You know, lady in Lewisburg, like, I cannot keep this dog. I'm elderly. My husband died. She called 3 or 4 times crying about it. She didn't want the dog to be let go and roam the country, but she felt like she was at that point of doing that. So we worked out with Humane Society and the shelter is, you know, she couldn't get the dog there. So she came, signed some papers, and we took the dog up there for her. So we felt like that was a middle road situation. Regardless, I felt like the county's going to end up dealing with that dog anyway. So, you know, by no means we're running and picking up dogs because someone says we can't do it, but we do try to figure out how to help those people in a way. So, and it's every scenario is a different scenario.
We appreciate it.
I mean, a comment. I wanted to say this a while ago, but I mean, my first year in office, and like we've talked about 2 subjects the most: animals and jail problems, and not jailer problems, just jail problems. So don't take that away. But you know, both of those situations are problems of irresponsibility.
Yes,
and that's what. It don't sound like that message. That's not the focus of, you know,
No.
it's like we're irresponsible. Now the problem is irresponsibilities of others.
Yes.
Whether it's
and we're left
go
to clean
jail
it up, or we're the ones that get blamed for it.
Yeah, and it feels like, you know, we're losing the message of the real problem. The problem's not the conditions of the building. The problem is people are not being responsible.
No, they're not. And
Absolutely. Sorry,
I mean,
let me go ahead and put that out there.
I just don't
Absolutely.
I just don't feel like that message is being said.
It's not. And in law enforcement, stupidity is not a crime. And that's the situation we're in, honestly. People are being irresponsible. I mean, and that maybe that was a little insensitive, and I didn't mean it to be that way, but that's how we deal with things constantly, is because people make bad choices.
There you go.
Well, the jail is full because
the jail is full because of that. The shelter is full because of that. Yes. You get the blame because I get blamed because we fill the jail. They get out of jail, and I still get blamed because they got out of jail, and I don't have anything to do with that part of it. But we're all in it together, and I think courts demonstrates that very, very well. But at the same time, you are limited on some situations, as we are.
And when people say, "Why does it take government so long? Why can you not be progressive faster?"
You have to be diligent with taxpayers' money and how it's spent, and you can't make those quick choices. Though sometimes we want to, but again, anytime someone has an issue with animal control, please reach out to me and ask me those questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. And if we're at fault, then I'll admit we're at fault and move on, and we'll fix it. But social media does tend to be the first place they go to fix a problem.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah. So, but again, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Sheriff. Stacy, our county clerk, come on up, Stacy. Give us some good news, please. Begging for it.
Y'all want me to change the subject?
Yes.
Please don't say classes in session.
I do need, I would like to get the court to acknowledge our fee report as well for December.
Make a motion to acknowledge the clerk's fee report.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I like that you have no over-under.
Thank you.
That took some doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That we can thank Jen too. She's
If no other discussion, roll call, please.
Yes, thank you.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
I was going to give an update on CAVIS. Yesterday, 9 counties did roll out across the state. A lot of problems were found, but a lot of problems have been fixed overnight. We're going to see 28 more counties roll out today, so we may find more. A big problem yesterday, I'm going to read this to y'all because I don't know what this means, but maybe y'all will. There were problems with servers and load balancing, and so some significant bugs were discovered. A lot of the bugs have been addressed and fixed. That load balancing though and server thing, I think is causing a slowdown, from what I understand. Yeah,
like
okay.
pest control
So
issue.
with 9 counties on, and we're adding 28 today, we're scheduled to go back on Thursday. Everybody just bear with us, please bear with us. We are hoping that we're fine, but by that point, we're gonna see the majority of the counties are gonna be on either Thursday or Friday. So hopefully, we're gonna be okay, but we do expect long lines and delays. We do expect there to be some problems. Just based off of what we're hearing, the chatter from the other clerk's offices. I believe the only other thing I had, really, unless y'all have any questions for me, was my fee report. We did, yeah, that's about it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Are we supposed to come to you, or will you bring to court, or our new maps? Because some of my map lines are right at people's houses, and a lot of our people are calling me and saying, am I still in your district or Miss Goodwin's district?
I have the maps.
Oh.
Well, I don't have them in my possession. I talked to
I
Kim
don't-
Mara this morning. She has them printed. I just have not been to the Brad office in the last few weeks to pick those up. So
Oh, I
I will
wasn't being
have
critical.
them.
No, you're
Of
No.
anybody, I just thought I'd
No,
probably-
I didn't take it as
I
that.
had the file, I had the email file.
Okay.
I'll get them.
I just
Yeah.
need to be able to tell people, yes, you need to call Miss Goodwin. But I've been covering everybody,
Good job.
even up to last week, because they didn't know I wasn't their magistrate. And I said, no, I'm not gonna say no. You know, I hope none of my road funds deplete. I'm not worried about it right
The Lord
now.
provides, it'll be
The
fine.
bottom line is, I think we are all in agreement. These kind of things are not
I
a big
do
deal.
have an email that has the map, but I believe it's already been sent out. So
Well,
if you need it,
if
I'll
you
My
can send
email
that- if you can send
crashes
that
on a
to,
daily
It was a little
basis
slow
because
about
it's so
opening
much.
up for me.
I've got it too. I've got the ones. I just need to be printed. What I was talking about.
So you've
was the
got one
printed
too?
version.
I can bring you one off that looks like Jamie's.
That's fine. I just need to see where those driveways end and where they begin, and it's kind of tricky. Okay.
Jamie's happy with you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Then.
Well, I don't want anybody to get a response from me or anybody else that says, oh, I'm sorry, you're not my district anymore. That's a big no-no. And, well, thank you. I just think that's important, and so we've got several people I need to tell you about I've been covering.
If we're trying to, if I'm in a situation where I'm trying to figure out who owns a road,
Okay,
and all departments have told me, we don't know,
okay.
is that something you can help me with?
If you know an address, I mean, we can plug that address in at the PVA office and it's gonna pop up immediately.
Is it a county road?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Potential, you know, but
So you come to
Nobody-
us and like, I try to explain to people, we're like a library. So you need your D-book and page number, like you
Yeah.
need your filing information to
Yeah.
be able to know what you're looking for. So typically what we'll do is we'll call over the PVA or you can run by there and then just give them that address and that plat should tell, like what they see
sometimes what shows there
is different.
is, you know, it's not, maybe at one time it was a county road and then it's not, and then, but they could still show that it's a county road, but it's not, and somebody owns it, and we don't know who owns it.
Yeah.
So, Pee Wee, you know what I'm talking about.
Is this on me? My old?
Off Newtown Road.
Is it? No.
Nobody, we,
No idea.
Yeah.
Off record for 8 years, anyway, back, we went that far back.
yeah, we,
Okay.
we can't, figure it out.
Scotty's here. Scotty, you got any? Do a title opinion, right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Okay,
And we do have several here in town.
yeah, okay, all right.
All right, you guys.
All right, thank
Do
you.
y'all have anything else for me?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Next up, Jailer Josh Tammy. Come on up, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As of this morning, our count was 166. It was 103 on the county side and 63 on the state side. We're working at getting some more. We've had several that's been reclassified or classified finally recently that's going to the prison that we're not going to be able to keep. We're working diligently daily with our Class D, trying to communicate with other facilities, trying to get our numbers back up. I know you had some questions earlier about maintenance and things. I just, we're trying to stay on top of this. It's a new year and been in touch with the jail inspector. I expect our first inspection for the year to be probably April, March, April timeframe. We're trying to prepare for that, and we're trying to get everything fixed. We're having issues trying to find lighting. Everybody's switching to LED. It's more energy efficient. It lasts longer. Currently, we have fluorescent. We're trying to get those fixed. We're having issues with water and things that's ruining the ballast in the cells. We had some that were worked on, the roof or the ceiling in some of the cells is so weak, they're having to change where the light fixture's mounted because of water damage. Whether it be from the roof or a combination, but there's moisture buildup, and it's enough that it's causing problems to the concrete of the cell. And of course, all that moisture, electricity doesn't like moisture, so we're having issues there. We've been fighting with the boiler again, and like I said earlier, I believe that's what HMC has determined was the problem. Having one regulator instead of two, it requires two, one for each unit, running twin boiler units, and it wasn't allowing the appropriate gas pressure, which in turn build up moisture because the temperature drops, so build up moisture inside, and that fried our cascade board and other electrical components in the boiler, and which in turn results in lack of hot water throughout the building. So we're working with them trying to get that fixed. Showers and toilet sinks. Any given time, with staff and inmates, we got the better part of 200 people in that building. Our lights are always on. The water's always running. We're always doing laundry. There's a lot to maintain, and we're trying to stay on top of it. So I just want you to know that we're not trying to be frivolous. We're trying to keep things fixed to stay in compliance. Again, just like in your home, I want, when you turn the light switch on, you want it to work. We do too. When you turn the water on, we want it to work. We're required to have that as part of jail standards, and that's what we're trying to meet. And then I understand that there's some things that came up, and you all might have some questions about some of our budget items, and one of them being overtime. We're not getting overtime just to get overtime. Okay, this schedule that we're currently working is a 3-12 and a 1-6. 6-hour shift. It's a 42-hour schedule each week. That's been in place since I knew Bill Jenkins was first jailer here years and years ago when I started in this county. Every deputy that works the floor, that works this rotating schedule, is going to have 4 hours built in because of the 12-hour shift schedule. If that shift changed, we would have to hire 2 other shifts worth of people. As far as requirements that you were talking about, following the law and the guidelines earlier, us and dispatch is the only 2 agencies that I know in this county that are statutorily required to have a certain number of people per shift. Dispatch is at minimum of 2, which is not enough for them. We're required to have 4. We're required to have 3 on the floor and 1 in control. And because we house female inmates, at least one of those has to be a female. So if that female calls out sick, we have to pull somebody else, which puts us in overtime, more overtime. But the way that I broke this down is we had 26 pay periods in 2023. Every deputy that works that rotating schedule is going to have 4 hours of overtime. When I figured that up with all our pay periods, that's an extra 2,184 hours in a year. Okay? You translate that to the lowest paid people with no experience working day shift and then the shift differential for the night shift, that's between $54,000 in overtime, automatic right off the top, to $57,000 and some change in overtime right off the top. That's not even taking into account sickness and hospitals stays when inmates get sent to the hospital, and we're required to maintain security with them and stay with them during that stay. Then we get into another statutory requirement. We're required by jail standards to do at least 3 head counts in a 24-hour period. When day shift comes on in the morning, the shift coming in, they come out about 15 minutes early to work with night shift. They all do a head count together of every cell and every single inmate and making sure everybody's in agreement. That takes about 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after to make sure the head count's accurate, everybody's good and accounted for. Both shifts agree before the previous shift leaves. And they do that with both shifts, in the morning and in the evening. Okay, that right there alone, taking every floor deputy between the shifts, that's an extra, with the number of how they're broke up, that's an extra 2.5 hours per day for day shifts head count and night shift leaving. And then in the evening, day shift leaving and night shifts head count, that's an extra 2.25 hours. So you take that, that's an extra 1,733 hours a year right there in overtime. Again, that we're required by statute to do this. So we're not trying to get overtime just to get overtime. We're trying to meet those standards and do what we're supposed to. So if there's any question about that overtime, I can explain it. And then I haven't even got into, unfortunately, we house a lot of people that don't have the best of habits, and they're not very healthy. Since January of last year, January 2nd, when I took over, to December 12th, the last time I pulled this from our medical, we had 106 inmates that were sent to the hospital for something above the amount of care that we can provide, right? They're a human being. We need to send them to a facility that provides adequate care. So they had been admitted for either one day, to where we had one gentleman that was in there for the better part of 2 months, okay? I work with Mr. Ross and Judge Williams if they're a district court inmate. I work with Neil Kerr and Judge Hendricks if they're a circuit court inmate. If it's a possibility that the prosecution and the judges will agree to a bond decision change, then I work with them. I keep them up to speed. I have my medical staff do a medical summary. Okay, I send it to them. Ultimately, it's up to them. But there's a risk there to let them out. Are they going to reoffend again? There's a lot of factors there on whether they let them out or not. However, since July 1 to December 12th, the last time I got this from medical, we had 60 inmates just in last budget cycle. That's, again, anywhere from 1 day to a month and a half during that time hospital stay. That's extra money at overtime rate that we weren't accounted for, because, again, you don't ever know. It's hard to plan that. You don't know what's going to come up. And, again, a lot of the people that we house don't have the healthiest of habits, and they don't take good care of themselves. And we're trying to provide them the best health care possible. But we can only do so much internally, so we have to send them to another facility. But, again, we're not getting overtime just to get overtime. I'm not trying to do that. I just want y'all to know we're working. We try to take time off if possible. But again, it goes back to statutory requirements on how many people a shift, providing that getting those head counts done, and providing security when they go to the hospital. That's out of our control. But if there's any questions, I would love to break it down for you even more. Yes, ma'am.
2 things.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to have a full-time deputy who rotates? And his whole job is to rotate to those things that I have to send a deputy and it's overtime. I have to send a deputy, it's overtime. I have to send a deputy, it's overtime.
If
we have a rotator.
If possible, we can try to send our part-time that comes out of a separate pay scale, but they're not always available. A lot of our part-time people are more or less seasonal or have other primary jobs. We have some that are school teachers. I believe Miss Bell's here. Her primary position is at Logan Aluminum. She helps us when she can. Again, they're not always available, but we try.
I just think that would alleviate the overtime thing if you had somebody that could rotate for all those.
And we can look into that. It's just hard to make sure that they're always going to be available, and you never know when it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Just like over the weekend, we had a gentleman that came in from previous injuries, had an infection. Medical called it, they complaining of headaches. He went out, he had an infection. He needed to see a neurosurgeon is what they determined. He had to go to Louisville because he can't leave out of state because he's an inmate, okay? He had to be taken to Louisville for a neurosurgeon for surgery. We worked with the judges. They done a bond decision to release him to where we didn't have to provide security there, a deputy there with him while he was admitted, because that was going to be a lengthy stay. But yet again, you never know when that's going to happen.
It could be any time during the night, and you don't know how long those stays are gonna be. But again, I want you to know that I'm working, we're not doing it just to do it. There's a reason behind it.
Could we have a copy of your form there?
I'd love to. I'd be happy to send you these. I've got detailed notes breaking it down, but I would be happy to.
Thank you.
I just wanted to tell you, I don't micromanage any department. I think
Yes,
you can
sir.
ask any department head.
And I'm not saying you do.
I don't
I just,
micromanage them, and I appreciate you breaking that down for me. I really do appreciate it. It gives me a better understanding. But as the tenure I've been on court, and I got more time on court than everybody else here added together, I just have to look at the numbers. So, and I don't have it in front of me, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I remember, the budgeted overtime allowance was in line, the same as, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but not significant than what it's been for the past 17 years that I've been on court. Matter of fact, it slowly every time goes up just a little, so again, I don't micromanage the jail, and I'm not going to micromanage the jail. You do a good job, so has the others, Everybody could complain, find something to complain about what
Yes,
some other elected official or department head did, and I'm not here to focus on that.
Yes, sir.
I'm here to focus on, we are the fiscal court.
Yes, sir.
I am responsible
Yes, sir.
for the taxpayer dollar. That's where I do have care and control. And I just want you to know my position, that when I sit here, and I don't even know the number without that being in front of me, but if I'm making up a number, okay, so don't take any, if I say I have $100,000 budgeted for overtime for the jail department, and I historically look at that, and I say over the last 17 years, that number has steadily been the same or gone up. It is a reasonable assumption that all things being the same, that $100,000 should suffice. Okay, now if you come back to me and say, well, Thomas, it's not going to suffice because we're way understaffed, we've got a lot more population, we got these things, then we sit down and talk about that, and
Yes,
then
sir.
we adjust that number.
Yes, sir.
That is our responsibility here.
Yes, sir.
The only thing I can control is your budget.
Yes.
And that's what I'm going to control.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is your budget. I am responsible as an elected official for that dollar. Okay? I'm not responsible for how the jail runs eternally. That's your thing, and you do a good job. Okay? But I have to, and don't take offense when I say, wait a minute, you've already spent 90% of your overtime budget. And I've got to have a better explanation. I can't just say, well, it's because all those things I agree with you.
Yeah,
but all
and
I
we've
can
not
tell
been full
you,
staff since before I took over. We've not been full staff since. It's for various reasons.
right, I
People
understand
don't-
that, but we are better staffed now than we have been in 6 years.
We were, but again, that's when we're not full staff. That's when you got extra
Okay,
coverage.
well, just from my take, I would not, I want you to know this, I would not change that line item for overtime without a really good, clear explanation of what put us there. I can't, in good faith, tell the taxpayer, hey, I'm gonna give you another $50,000. I just, I understand those things, but I also understand those things have been happening since I've sat on court. Okay? Jail counts and standards have happened for 17 years that I've been on court. Taking inmates to the hospital and having to watch over them has been happening. Now, are we having an extreme case?
Yes.
Kind of like what we're dealing with the
I'm
animal
talking
shelter.
to medical and other facilities.
I know
People
we're
are
going to have to spend
a lot
money
more
at the animal
unhealthier now
shelter
than
that
they
we
were.
haven't, because we've gotten this gap of time that's extreme.
Yes, sir.
And you may be in it, and that's where you'll have to educate me, but that would be the only way that I could fund more overtime money. I can't do it. It would be within your own budget to work those numbers out. Bless you. You may have to move money from one spot to another spot.
Yes, sir.
And as long as they're dealing with payroll, I have no problem with it. Now, I'm not going to make a budget amendment from equipment to payroll, because then we can't buy that equipment. That's what we told the taxpayer we were going to do. We were going to buy a new boiler. We were going to buy a new transport vehicle. We were going to buy new whatever, you know. I mean, I can't in good faith do that, but if you say, hey, man, I got plenty of money over here for this deputy that I don't have right now because we're understaffed, then fine, you take that money and you move it to your overtime. So payroll's payroll, I'm fine with that. If you need to make those adjustments, I'm here to approve that and just let us know. But I'm not gonna take money from equipment or money from, you know, fixing the roof or fixing whatever to fund overtime. It's your responsibility to manage payroll, you know, and you know, unless there's an extreme circumstance that I don't know about. I rely on Tyler a lot of times about staffing because he keeps up with he's on that committee, and hey, are we understaffed, overstaffed? What do we need to do? And we've worked really hard prior to you even coming as an elected official, getting the sheriff's department first, properly staffed and properly paid, and then we took on the jail as the next big project, and it seems like we've done that reasonably well and at least tracking in the right way. So that's where I would stand on overtime.
Yes, sir, and we're working hard to try to recruit people and retain people for various things. Just people don't want to work anymore, and then you try somebody, or they think they don't like the schedule, they don't like the structure, they don't like, you know, the rotating of days off, or whatever the case may be. It's tough, but I just don't want you to think we're not trying.
Yeah, no, I don't think that at all. I don't want you ever think that, but I also don't want you to think that I'm against you if I say, hey, I'm not approving any more overtime dollars.
I mean, I think
I
just
can't do that.
Reiterate sort of what he's getting at is, you know, when you're tracking that overtime and you hit 100% and you're only 50% in the year, you know, that's an obvious glare of concern, you know.
Well, I think
but there's reasons for it, you know, and I mean,
like I said, talking to medical and other facilities, people are unhealthier now. They're seeing more and more cases. The people we house they don't make the best of choices in life. And when you take 85+% of people incarcerated are there for substance abuse, that affects their body. And that in turn, they would chase their addiction versus taking care of whatever else is going on with them. And we're trying to help them with that, but we also have to provide that medical care to them.
Well, it's like I asked you this question, you know, like, well, who makes that determination?
And our doctor's over our medical provider.
And obviously, you know, that's not something that, you know, you need to make, but
yes,
you've got to provide the minimum standard care,
yes, sir.
right? Just like the question I asked Stephen about who makes the decision about, you know, taking in an animal, you know, it's sort of out of your control. But
yes, sir.
I just think, you know, I'm with Thomas, and I want you to understand from our vantage point, you know, set a budget, you got to make adjustments to stay in that budget, you know, and obviously, but we can't tell you how to do it. So.
Yes, sir.
But I sympathize with you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, coroner. Ben, do you have anything? And we're not looking for a count. We don't need a count from you.
Yeah, it'll be quick. The cooler was supposed to ship out Friday, but I don't think it did because I never got a text from the gentleman telling me it hit, the truck showed up.
Right.
Their shipments are off, so the cooler's what's holding us up. I know you asked about if we were still out at Young's, and we'll be there until the cooler's in and installed, and at that point we'll transition fully over. I wanted to thank y'all for the flooring that's been put down. If anybody hadn't peeked in the windows, and don't peek in the windows, it's the coroner's office. Might not want to see what you see. But we got new flooring down, and it looks really good. And the office, once we get everything moved in and fixed up, I want y'all to come by and see, because it's something to be proud of for Logan County, having never had a nice facility for the coroner's office. So I want you to know I appreciate all that we're putting into it. And
it's a great start.
yes, and another historical thing, we had an entire month of December we didn't have a single coroner's call.
Oh, great.
That's unheard of.
In December?
In December,
Hey, you better,
Good
job.
Yes.
You better wrap on that wood up there.
Yeah, I know. Probably break loose now. But anyway, just thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. All right, let's move on to department heads. Pee Wee, now you can come up. Kelly was not going to be able to make it, so Pee Wee's going to be taking over as our new road supervisor. So now you get to push everything towards him. What do you have for us, sir?
We have 2 employees
If we're trying, we got hard, sent to the court today and see what y'all think.
Well, that sounds good already, just you
We
got
just need
somebody
2 more.
for us. 2 more after these.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need about 10 more, but we're gonna make,
I won't ever get that many.
we're gonna make this work.
LCRD.
When I first started with the county, there was 22 of us.
22.
Yeah, but they didn't, but they didn't have anything but a
You had to do it
shovel.
all
They
with
had to,
shovel
they
and axe.
they had shovels and
I
axes. They didn't have a
remember I was
backhoe or
at Johnny's
anything
days.
like that.
You say 5 years experience on this guy. Was it local or where's he
Yes,
coming
ma'am.
from?
Yes, both of these guys are local. One of them, Jeff, lives over next to Jamie and
equipment operator.
Rob. He worked for, I think it's Darpro. Like that was the name of
Darpro,
it.
absolutely.
They seemed like they were gonna fit in and do right well.
I'm glad. Well, I'm really glad.
Yeah, they're,
How many
they're,
years experience does this one have? 8?
Roll on.
That's really good. You got somebody's gonna come in and help you anyway.
True.
Yep.
Judge, I had a question while Tyler looked at that. I noticed on like the work orders or the work that's been performed in each district.
Yes, sir.
So work on A.P. Miller and J. Montgomery Road, is that normal or is that caused by others?
It's, a lot of it's because of the solar panel. We have to rock it at least probably once a month. It's been graded twice this month because there's just so much traffic. They're wearing it out back there in the back.
yeah.
It's a muddy back there the other day. I don't have a pickup truck got back in there.
Is that the entrance to that solar?
It's on back in there about where they're working. At the beginning, most of them are all right.
How are the asphalt roads holding?
They're starting to give just a little there on A.P. Miller.
Well, I plan on, my plan is to have a meeting with them as soon as possible and express our concerns of them tearing that roads up as bad as they are, and I'm gonna hold them accountable for that.
I was gonna say, is that in the contract with them? Road destruction?
I can't answer that. I
believe
really
asked
can't.
that question before, and there
Okay.
is some responsibility. to
Yes.
Replacing.
Okay.
I was thinking there
As long
was,
as that's in the contract, then fine, it won't come out of your district money.
but contract or not, I plan on holding them accountable for that. If you destroy a road, then you're gonna pay for it.
Okay.
Well, I just happened to both see those listed.
The other thing is you have an update on Newtown Road. I know we got a bridge going in there.
Yeah, I've been out there early this morning. I was worried about the water breaking over and taking our tile out. We sent the LAC one out there and opened it up on that downside. If it quits raining, we may make it. If it keeps raining, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
The water's that high.
I was there yesterday afternoon and I saw where y'all was trying to dam up
Trying to be a,
trying to dam it up there and get the water out, but yeah,
Yeah.
but that's just something that's.
that's just
It's
part of
just,
the
it's just gonna,
process.
it's gonna take some time to get that bridge
Yeah.
complete. Once that bridge is complete, it's gonna make everything nice, so much nicer
Oh,
for
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah,
There'll be no
that'll
more
be-
low water
Well,
forward to go through.
And that temporary road they did is really nice too. So
Yeah,
I mean, it's not.
That's,
it's gonna happen. Well,
You built that, didn't you?
Yep.
There you go.
I'll make a motion for a personal action request for a Robert G. Whiting. Robert is coming in with 8 years credit experience, and he'll be a heavy equipment operator. And the stipend schedule, he'll be in the schedule LC-RD-1S1.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
A second.
Now,
He didn't mention this one yet.
Yeah.
If no further discussion, roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes. I believe we have one more. Thank you, sir.
The person?
This name.
Okay.
And
Does he
this
need to
is
be
the
there when I
base
do it?
schedule. And there's the stop.
Okay. I recommend that we hire Jeffrey E. Edwards with 5 years' experience on the base schedule LC-RD-1 at a stipend schedule of LC-RD-1S1 at $16.77 per hour. Did I get it on? Okay, good.
Second.
I'm sorry.
I just want to learn how to do that.
I have a motion by Ms. Crawford and a second by Jamie. Wasn't it Jamie? You got
Jamie or
that?
Jason? Who wants it?
Jamie.
Just put J.A. Good job.
I appreciate it. If no further discussion, roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes?
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes, and I appreciate that. I was out there working with both those guys personally yesterday for a little bit, and they done a great job. Next up, let's bring archives. Denise, where you at? Where you at there? Bearing good news. Thank
Very
you.
good news. Okay, so first off, an update on the KDLA grant that we applied for. Because of the governor's inauguration in December, they put decisions off until this month, so keep your fingers crossed still a little longer that next court session will have an answer on how much of that they will approve for us. The second thing is the other grant that we have applied for. It is due this Friday. Keep our fingers crossed on that one as well. All right, so the wall that heals, we've talked about that, and it's an amazing thing, and the Genealogical Society has decided to be involved in that a little more actively. We have decided to do a commemorative book. Part of that book will be to include information about the wall in Washington, D.C., the wall that heals, the traveling exhibit. We also want to include our veterans. So here's where everybody that's here and who's listening can please, if you have questions, contact the archives. We've got all your answers. There are two different forms that are circulating around. Right now they're in Russellville. Please be patient as we work our way through the county. One form is for the In Memory program. If your Vietnam veteran made it home and later passed, please, please, please either go online and fill out the form online or get it from us and send it in the mail. It has to be done by May. If it's not done by then, when we have the wall that heals, they will not be included on that display. There's nothing we can do to get that individual included. The other one is for us that will come to the Genealogical Society. If you know a Vietnam veteran who was born anywhere in this country, who lives anywhere in this country, who calls home anywhere in this country, if they are on the wall, if they made it home and they have passed away, if they have made it home and they are still with us, if they were deployed, if they remain stateside, we don't care. We want to include them. So there's a form. Get it from us. We will email them to you. If you want to email, you can email it back to us with all the information. And then finally, we all know that 250th anniversary of our country is coming up, and along with that will coincide a 230-something, I think it's 35th birthday of Logan County. We are revitalizing our First Families Project. If you can put your family's roots in Logan County's original boundaries by 1820, your family qualifies. Judge Baker has a new ancestor that would qualify for this project if they'll just turn the paperwork back in. That application is also available from the archives. You can also email us and have us email it to you. You can send it all back electronically. You can stop by the office. If you have an idea that you have somebody that qualifies, that's great. If you think you might, that's great. We'll help. If you want to find out, we have some volunteers that are going to help with that too. Any questions? I know that was rapid fire, but...
The boundary of Logan County in 1820, is it
Yes.
the boundary that was the boundary of Logan County in 1820?
Yes.
Or is it today's boundary?
It is the original boundary in 1792, sir. But we don't care as long as they're anywhere within that original boundary by 1820. The original boundary is, if I have my directions and my rivers connected right, the Green River, and then a direct south line to the state line, west to the Mississippi, up the Mississippi to the Ohio, up the Ohio to the Little Barren, and back down to the Green River, if I have my rivers in the right.
Basically western Kentucky.
The whole entire western quarter of the state. There's 30 counties involved, and if you can put your family anywhere in it by 1820, you qualify.
Aren't you guys glad you don't have that much room?
Everybody here
Area.
except for
Any
Ms. Crawford
questions?
might have.
What?
I don't know if you would have anybody here that far.
No, I'm not originally from here, but
I would
very
think
glad I
everybody
am
else
here
would,
now. And I will search and search for
Never
anybody who
know.
might be connected.
We will help.
Thank
You never know.
Thank you.
I'm probably
Absolutely.
into one of you.
Thanks,
I'm
guys.
related to everybody.
Send me the form, Ms. Shoulders, yeah.
Next up,
17.
Ginger Lawrence. You don't have anything?
Thank you.
You know, everybody's my cousin, so it's gotta be somewhere down through there.
Do your second thing.
All right, let's, it's been requested. Let's just take a quick
That's fine.
5-10 minute break here real quick.
Back.
All right, let's pull back in order. Next up is our solid waste, Nathan Cockrell.
Hello.
Hey, Nathan.
Litter abatement, I did have a report for you all. I'll just dig into it here. In December, appreciated the work from the jail crew, as the work has really stepped up there, and appreciate that so much. And we did have some more nonprofit pickups as well, and so we spent all our 2023 litter abatement grant money, and so I'm really proud of that. And we did pick up around 400 miles and 300 bags, or 40 miles, excuse me, and 300 bags in December. I did have a recycling center report. We did have 12 bales in that period I tested, but because I needed an end of the year report, it's a little shorter, and it'll be a longer report next time with that'll look more like the others. And I will have yearly reports next time for the litter as well as the recycling center. I did have a comment about that loading dock. It's down on the agenda a little bit, but I may need to depart. And I believe it's item 5 on the agenda. So the recycling center was not using that loading ramp. It was for a trailer we really don't use at this point, and the animal shelter could use it. And so we decided to, Tim helped him out and just loaded over on a trailer that they're using. It's an old semi-trailer they store stuff in, and so we just wanted to go ahead and make that official so they could have that ramp for their purposes. And one other thing I had, there was, it's time for the inspections that I do of recyclers in the county, and I was able to do one inspection last week, and it's American Sustainable Pallets right over here on 2nd Street, and they checked out okay, but I needed to submit that for y'all's consideration to approve.
We're approving, repeat what we're approving?
So every year there are recyclers that are inspected in the county, and so I'll go through that, and they have to pay a $100 fee to renew.
There we go.
And
$100 fee thing.
Yes, a $100 fee, and they pay that fee as well. And I have to submit them, but y'all have the final say in that as to whether or not to approve them.
Okay. Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. No discussion, roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Unless y'all had any questions for me.
Tell them thank you for Longview Lane.
Okay, I will do that.
Tell them thank you. It continues to look better, and people call all the time about how much better it looks over there. Thank you.
At Longview Lane,
No, Longview Lane is a whole nother thing, but I'm talking about the recycle center itself.
The recycle
waste transfer station.
yes,
So
okay.
much better. Thank you.
I will let him know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you for all your hard work. Moving along, we're going to judges' announcements. I hope everyone can participate. Friday, January 12th at 8:30 will be the Martin Luther King Jr. Annual Unity Walk. It will begin at Jesus Church of Russellville, located at 637 East 5th Street, Russellville, and will end at the Logan County Justice Center on West 4th Street. The speaker will be Camaro Neblet. For more information, call 270-547-2836, or there's an email address. Please reach my office and we'll give you that one. Saturday, January the 13th, the Russellville Logan County NAACP MLK Jubilee Celebration Breakfast. Man, that was a mouthful. Join the Russellville Logan County NAACP at the Concerned Citizens KP Hall, located at 428 East 5th Street in Russellville, as they honor and celebrate Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. The guest speaker will be Pastor Marius Beard. Suggestive donation of $7. I'm sure that'll be a great breakfast. Please join. Sunday, well, I'm having trouble speaking today. Sunday, January the 14th, 3 to 4, the Isaiah House expansion meeting will be held at Southern Heights Church on Nashville Street. And then on Wednesday, January 17th, the Isaiah House Day. To honor the mission, there will be an in-person meeting at noon in the courtyard by New Vision office here on Main Street to pray for children with foster care, child welfare workers, and foster families in our community. All right, I don't believe we have any reports, so at this time, we have citizens' participation. If you have anything, please come up, present your name, and preferably your business. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the court and judge. My condolences to you. I've heard just a little bit. My name is Jonathan Gardner. I live in Muhlenberg County. I spend a lot of time in Logan County. I'm addressing the court to enter into a contract to be an electrical inspector in your county. That's pretty much my agenda. If you have a question for me regarding availability, my background, any of that, I'll be more glad to address that.
Jonathan and I have spoken in just the last few minutes. He's turned.
We have a position for this?
Well, it's an appointed position. We're going to look over everything. Jonathan, he submitted all of his paperwork, I believe, to our office, and we're going to go through it and possibly the next meeting, if everything works out, and I'll speak with him again. We'll appoint him as an electrical inspector.
And I got Olivia a copy of the contract to look for. So.
Okay, good deal. We'll get with that. Get with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
And Ms. Crawford, you all have an arrangement where you have many people who fill that role. They just have to sign a contract.
Yeah, I realize. I just wanted to know. I didn't realize that, and I should have maybe asked that question privately, so my apologies.
It's all good.
No,
It's all good. It's all good.
They have to have a state license, they have to have insurance. When they submit that, application does.
Do I have anybody else for citizen?
Anybody can do it.
Well, sometimes I may
Please-
do something out of line.
Please, if you can.
I'll punish.
Not very hard, though.
No, it's a
A nudge. It's okay. I accept it. With grace.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for helping me a few years back. You all helped put Whiskey Bay on the map.
This is bourbon country, so.
That I had to be brought before you all and it got put on the map, and that's a good thing, because if we have an emergency down there, so drowning or any kind of accident, and we can have a plane come in and know where we're at, that saves lives. And so, thank you. I really appreciate that. My name is Janice Rogers, and I live at 669 Little Clef Road, Lewisburg, Kentucky. I am 80 years old, and I have lived there over 30 years, and I've gotten into my house using a lake access to get into my house. I was in court last year over that access. The last day I was in court was May the 22nd of 2023, and the judge was Hendricks in the case, and the case number was 21CI00173. And Mr. Jones represented Marilyn Bedell that owned the property that's in question here, and he represented her, and in that case, Mr. Jones stated that her property, that what I was trying to claim as adverse possession was actually a lake right-of-way into the lake, and that anybody had a right to use it and could use it, and ambulances use it, state police use it, anybody wanting to fish that wants to use it. During the time that I've been there were several places that was lake access that people could stop in from around the county and take their kids fishing. And over the years, a lot of those places is closed out. You know, they're no longer lake access. They've been, for some reason or another, just allowed to be take over, and nobody can get in there anymore. And so, Judge Hendricks, when he was pointing out that I couldn't claim this by adverse possession, he said, but see how important to be able to use that access to get into her house, because I cannot get into my house without using that lake access. And so I have the court order, I have deeds and everything that says that is a court access.
and that anybody has the right to use it. The lot has been surveyed 4 times, and the land in question here. And if any of you all are from around that part of the county, you know that for something to be surveyed 4 times over the last 30 years is more. Most places are surveyed once, or there's no surveys, and it goes to the beech tree or the big rock or the just anything as what they used back then to document and what the lines were. And my place, I know where the stakes are. I can take my hands out there and blind and find them because they're there, and I've dealt with them. Well, the lady that owned the lot decided to sell it back in November. They had a public auction, November the 12th, at the auction, and they passed out a little flyer that showed a diagram of the lake and the lot that they were selling. Maybe I didn't bring it up. Yeah, well, no, I didn't.
Okay, go ahead.
But anyway, on that little piece of paper in little bitty letters, it said that auction or sale was going to be subject to any ease or right-of-ways of record. And then somebody, she had it surveyed again, and the surveyors were out there. They put a stake right on the other side of where I go out of my house entrance. And Alan, my son, was getting ready to take me to the doctor and to get medicine. And I said, wonder what that stake is for, because it had a red tag around it, and it was kind of midway of the lot. And I said, go over there and ask him what that stake's for. And he came back and he told me, he said, Mom, he says that that's a 15-foot marker from the center of the road to the edge, and that's the public access. Well, I won't say what happened to that stake, but it disappeared. And I don't know if it was taken up or beat down the ground, I don't know, but the stake disappeared. So they had the auction on November the 12th. And like I said, they passed the paper around, and it said that it's subject to any easements or right-of-ways by court record. And Mr. Thomas bought the lot at the auction on November the 12th, 2023. And on November the 28th, he appeared before this court and he said he wanted to build a house there, and was given permission to build a house on what is officially the state right-of-way and state access down to the lake. And so supposedly he got permission to build it there, because he told me that I wasn't going to be able to
Ma'am, we don't give permission like that.
What, honey?
I said, ma'am, we don't give that permission. And I've spoke to you on the phone and had a good conversation with you. I think I've spoke to some of your other family too. And as I said, what you're dealing with now is a civil matter. It's not anything that we have any access over at this point.
Well, I thought you all gave him permission to do what he wanted to with that lot. And the thing is, I mean, I am defending a lot that belongs to everybody. It's like access. Anybody can use it. You can bring your grandkids down there. Anybody can use it, and I want it to be left open. I live on Social Security and lived there 30 years, and now I'm going to have to hire a lawyer and try to defend this case because to be able to get my house when it is on on a deed here, and ironically, it's kind of funny that sometimes things happen and you can't figure out why, but when I was researching to try to find out where in the record it said that it was a 25-foot or 30-foot easement, I found the deed, and it is made out to the lady that sold the lot and her dad, and it says, accept and reserving the 25-foot roadway to Little Cliff Road. And got to looking, and the deed was from my mom and dad. And it's kind of ironic that they've been dead many years, and they're kind of still looking out for my well-being, that I'll be able to get in my house. And so I guess, like I said, I feel like that I shouldn't have to fight a civil court case over something that was decided that, look, you can build a house there, it's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal. It's a very big deal if you're 80 years old and need somebody to, some way to get in your house.
Ma'am, the only thing that we talked about that day was what was
Honey,
it?
I can't hear you. Can I come?
You can stay.
I have a hard.
The only thing we said that day was talking about a county road, and so we talked about where the county road ended.
Yeah.
And said beyond that, it would be up to you to follow whatever regulations, and all of that would be a civil issue.
Well, it actually is a county road down there. I've got it 25-foot roadway access to Little Cliff Road. To give a little bit of history, can I sit down? To give a little bit of history, at one time Little Cliff Road went all the way down the hill beside my house, and before there was a lake there, it went all the way across and then up the other side. So, but when it was blacktop, the county put blacktopping at the top of the hill, because I guess they was assuming driving down that blacktopping down there was my private driveway, which it wasn't. It belonged to the county, and so.
The stuff you're talking about on your deed, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, if what you're seeing on the deed is something, this is a civil matter. It's not anything that this court, it's not anything that this court can take care of. This is a civil matter. You'll have to take it up with a different court than this one.
Well, the thing about it is, y'all told me we could do it.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
The only thing that we discussed at that meeting was defining the legal end of that road.
Well, which is not. That's not the legal end. It goes all the way down, and that's what this was ruled in.
We verified at that court meeting where the legal end of the road that we own.
And I've got legal proof that it's not. It goes all the way down the hill. And it's on this deed, and it's documented, and I was in court last year.
It might be public access, but Logan County does not own it. That's
Correct.
where the issue comes in. So you can enforce your right of access, but it's not in the name of Logan County.
Yes, ma'am. That's simply what we're trying to say. We're not arguing with you. We don't argue. All we're saying is that the road ends.
He just told my mother that y'all gave him permission to build on it.
The last thing I said to him was, this just means we're out of it. That doesn't mean you're right in building it, because there could be other civil issues we are not a part of.
I understand, but he came down there and brought equipment and told my mother he's gonna dig up her van. If she didn't like it, she could move. It's actually harassment of an 80-year-old lady, and I can't do anything about it. And I understand it's a civil issue, and we've got a lawyer working on it, but we just don't need anybody down there digging her driveway up until we can get it in front of a court. We understand it's civil, and we're happy to do it.
Get with that attorney, they can file injunctions that hold stuff in place until it's finally decided.
What's that, sir?
Get with your civil attorney. There are things that can be filed pre-resolution that keep the status quo, basically. So
we're understanding that now, but he's been down there and had equipment and digging and cutting and actually digging up property on this right of way.
And we're not a party to that to
Right,
do anything
okay.
to help.
I mean, we can't ask the judge to hold it until we get to
We-
court.
we can't. You could go through
We
your
have
attorney
nothing
and
to do
ask
with
it.
Different court.
Well, we're trying.
You could get.
Well-
with
I
your
understand,
attorney.
I understand.
He's trying to beat
But-
us to court.
I
He's
will
trying to
say
beat
one
us.
thing, I've tried every lawyer in Logan County, and none of them wants to take it because, they don't want to bother the good old boys, they said.
They said it was a conflict of interest. I don't understand that.
I don't quite
We're
understand that either, and I don't know where the.
I've tried over 20
that-
lawyers. I was told to go outside the county and try to get a lawyer. I've tried Bowling Green. It's not that I'm not trying to get a lawyer.
Right, yeah, well, I understand, ma'am, but I mean, this is.
You know, I just was hoping that you all could tell him not to dig on that property till I had a chance to get a lawyer and.
Even if we did, even if this court did say you can't dig, it holds it holds nothing. I mean, this court is not, that's not what this court does. And I'm sorry, I mean, I wish there
Okay,
was
well,
something we could do, but it's just
I'm-
above and beyond
I
our.
tell you, I do sympathize with you, and I think you're a sweet, sweet person.
Well, thank you.
And I talked to you a while
I
ago, I
agree.
think you're a sweet lady, and I do sympathize with you, and I hate that y'all are having to go through this. I know it's. you've
It's
been
like
there-
hell.
You've been there a long time, and things are changing. I don't like change, I hate it.
I mean, to
I
think,
hate
you
it.
know, you're not even gonna be able to get in your house. You know, if you leave home that day, you don't know if you can get in the house.
She can move, that he's taking that road and she doesn't have nothing to do about it. We're trying our best to get in front of court. I
If
promise
there was
you
anything
are.
we could do to help you, we would look into it, but I really am sorry, it's a different court system, we're different.
Well,
The only thing we have control of is that road and when it stops, and the right of way in that road, and after that, we can't vote to do anything, or we would look into it and help you, because, you know.
Well, there's part of the confusion is the road does not stop where you all have been led to believe that it does, and I understand. You know, in the beginning, I thought the end of the road was up there where the blacktop stopped at my mailbox. Because I was told by the county road foreman that the road stopped up there, but I got to remember that I've been there 30 years, there's been several road foremans, and I'm sure they don't know where every road starts and stops in the county.
So whenever we have a road that is owned by the county.
Right.
Or it's a county road, the court votes on a footage. So whether or not a previous road foreman or somebody thought it went further, but you know, in today's time, we have an exact footage that when that road was put on the county, we have a footage that we measure from a certain point. And I believe Kelly has measured multiple times and confirmed the footage. And it could have been previous foremen years and years ago said, this didn't really know.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we could vote on is what we were given by deed by the owners previously. And that's in that footage. And that's where it stopped, and that's all we can go by. But like I said, I think you're sweet lady, and I enjoyed talking to you a while ago, and I wish we could help you, but
Agreed. I wish we could, but there's.
Can we block, he's down there digging, can we block the road?
I'm not
Stop
gonna
him from
answer that
getting in there?
question, sir. I'm not gonna answer that
We can't give you
question.
legal advice, that would be a violation on our part.
Yes.
Yeah. I had to try, thank you all
I
very much.
understand, and I'm sorry. I wish there was something we could do.
Oh,
If she has an emergency, we're in trouble.
yeah,
That's
an
the only way
ambulance
she
couldn't
get
even
in
get
and
in there to
out.
get me.
Well, they're messing up the drive where a fire truck can't get in and out, EMTs can't get in and out, so it's bigger than just my mom's thing.
Hundreds of people use that all year long.
And we found an old deed that shows that there's an easement, and his new deed is left off, and we're gonna take our attorneys to prove it.
That's exactly what you have to do, and I'm sorry this court can't help you, but it's just not really in our realm of what we take care of. Do we have anyone else? If not, let's move on to old business. I don't believe we have any old business. So let's move on to new business, which is number one, acknowledge the sheriff's fee recap for calendar year 2023.
Move to acknowledge.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If no further discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford, Bolden,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes. Number 2, advertise the bid for maintenance and monitoring of emergency and communication radio system.
Motion to approve the advertisement for the bid.
Second.
I have a motion and a
Jamie says
Jamie
yes.
seconded.
Ready to go.
If no further discussion,
Or
roll
just
call.
just, I guess, a reminder, what's the?
Okay,
what's
this-
the estimate of that? Is there an estimate like for what they're talking?
Yeah,
No, it's in the budget.
I can't remember what it is. Wilson Communication does it now. Basically, it just covers all of our radios and such.
It's just annual
This-
maintenance stuff.
I can't off the top of my head remember what that is.
Yeah, it's
How much
around
was that?
90 something. I
Was it
think.
90?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was 100.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I looked at it somewhere in that area.
It's in the budget.
Did I get a motion in a second?
You did.
Okay, my apologies. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes. Number 3, approve the order of affiliation with Logan County Search and Rescue.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
hold on a second. Y'all, just slow it down.
Watch the video.
I can only watch so fast. I can only go so fast.
Okay.
You say roll call.
Roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yep.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Y'all made my face hot.
Just getting all this-
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
We love you, Olivia.
Don't make my face hot. Don't embarrass me like that.
That's fun.
Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Approve the 2023 EMA Program Fund Agreement with the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Man, I need to look.
The EMA, is that, where we put a percentage of our
Yeah.
road money into that emergency
Management.
management grant? In
Yes.
case there's a disaster and we can apply for part of that money.
Yes, I think that is correct.
So that's the total there at the bottom. That amount. Okay.
That is,
This is the, it's
No.
RAMA funding that Carrie and Rodney,
That's
where
what
they work for
Oh,
the county. So that's not our total amount, that's the total amount
My
for
apologies.
the complete contract. We only get a portion of that.
My apologies. Yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the 2023 EMA Program Funds Agreement with the state.
A second.
I have a motion by Chris, a second by Ms. Crawford. There's no other discussion. Roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
yes.
Baker.
Yes. Number 5, approve the transfer of inventory number 01937, a portable loading dock from the recycle center inventory to the animal shelter.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. No further discussion. Roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper, I'm sorry, Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Number 6, approve to surplus various office items from the sheriff's department inventory.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jamie, second by Tyler. If no further discussion, roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Number 7, approve the surplus of various office equipment from Logan County Fiscal Court inventory.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
It was probably a laptop. Aces messed
If no further discussion, roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Next up is number 8. Approve the reappointment of Gary Bush, James Dossett, and Terrell Snodgrass as electrical inspectors in Logan County. Their term will expire 1/9/25.
Okay.
Judge, is there a certain number of these? Going back to the introduction we had earlier, I mean, it's a county.
I don't think, and I will have to go
I can
over.
answer that. We have had, not by anybody listed here, but we have had in the past, electrical inspectors petition the county to what they call close the county. And only those people that the county has approved can do electrical inspections. I was 1,000% against that. Me and other magistrates successfully fought against that. We said we'll follow state guidelines. If you meet state requirements, get your license, get your insurance, that you are welcome to do business in Logan County. Apply for an application, submit your money and your proof of state licensing and your insurance, and you go to work in Logan County. I'm 1,000% against monopolies, you know, so we had others trying to do that. So it has historically been these three, you know. This is the first person that I've known in 15 years that it's applied, 12 to 15 years, it's applied for. The Snodgrass was the last guy to apply.
I have a
think.
list of them in my office, and there are a few more on there. I can't get a hold of them.
Okay.
There are a few more that have been on there previously, but these are the ones that I got.
I don't think there
You
is.
do all you want, do 1,000 of them.
Well, I think doing this, like you said, is our state obligation to appoint.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Correct.
but they did try, not anybody listed here, but there was a push to, they called it closing the county. It's just, you approve these two people and that's it. Nobody else can do an electrical inspection.
So if Mr. Gardner wanted to be one of these, then he would just need to provide those credentials and be voted on
Correct.
at a
That's
future
right.
meeting.
Correct.
And anybody, you know, so when you build a new house and your electrician wires it, and you're not limited to just one person. The reason I was against it, you know, it's easy to control pricing when you got two people that says, I'll do the electrical inspection for 100, well, I'll do it for 125. Next thing it's 125, it's 150. You know, just fair business practices, right? So that is good for the taxpayer.
Competition's always better.
A couple of these guys are not Logan Countyans either, right?
One of them was,
One's
Greenville?
Greenville, and I
Greenville?
thought Mr. Dossett, is he from Logan or Tyler?
The address I have on him is Elkton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make a motion to reappoint these three individuals as electrical inspectors.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion?
The only other discussion is the time frame we are approving them for exceeds all of their certificate of insurances, which is not a problem. We just have to remember that comes whatever, like this one's December, this one's October.
Problem of their insurance companies not sending them to me, and so I've got with them all, and we're going to renew them all at the same time, so it's easier for one, me to remember, and two, they've put me on a list so that I immediately get them whenever they renew.
We should request that we are listed as additional insured and that there is a 10-day notice of cancellation. So they would be required by law to tell you, hey, in 10 days, this guy will no longer have insurance.
Absolutely.
Because this one right here expires April, of this year. So, and we're approving him to do business in Logan County beyond that. Part of us approving him, he or she has to have insurance on file, which has never been an issue that I know of.
And especially not with these guys.
These people are good. They do Logan County a great job.
I think there's one coming up like the 20th, and she has already sent me his name when she sent it to me this morning.
Yeah.
I guess one other question to you, Thomas, in regards to that, who defines those limits?
We can make them whatever we want.
Because I noticed that, Mr. Snodgrass has got higher limits, but I didn't know if there was, I guess obviously there's minimum limits.
The minimum is $1 million.
Okay.
And I think that's set by the state, if I'm not mistaken.
If $1 million is the minimum, then Mr. Dossett does not meet the required minimum. Are we talking about total aggregate or per occurrence? He has a total aggregate of 1 million, but he has a per occurrence of 500,000. So if it's a million, he doesn't meet the requirements. If it's a million, if it's a million, he does not meet it. If it's 500,000, he does meet it.
Just the difference in his and the others, he's excluded on those products, whatever. Whatever that
You're saying-
last line is.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That is completed comps and operations, so it would,
You're talking right here.
we need to look and see if that's required in our, thank you for pointing that out, Chris, right here. This last is,
Million.
so that's, I'm not an insurance guy, but that is like after, like if you do something and then 6 months later, something happened and it was like, oh, that happened because you missed that. So all professional people like Joe, that is a real important
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen
product
that
line on their
excluded
insurance.
somebody.
Doctors, you know, hey, they had this surgery and then 6 months later found out you botched it and this person had complications for it. If you don't have completed operations coverage, there's no coverage. The coverage that he has in place is you did something wrong right here, right now.
But not future.
Yeah, not as you walk away from that product.
Okay,
So-
that's what you meant by million.
No, what I mean by million is if you go up there,
To this one.
that's per occurrence. So that says your total liability, total for this policy year is $1 million. The max they will pay out in one policy year is $1 million.
Not
The
just one
max that they'll pay out for one event is $1 million.
I get it.
You go to Mr. Snodgrass.
And he doesn't have that.
The max they'll pay out for one single event is $500,000.
500,000.
The max they'll pay out for one policy year, which for him runs October of '23 to October of '24, is $1 million.
Okay.
So he'd have to have more than
More.
one event
Yeah.
to ever pay out the max. So I'm pretty sure it's $1 million.
I
He
see.
may have to go back, and then we need to look and see if it requires completed
Of
operation.
course, this one goes to 2 million, so.
If it doesn't, we need to amend that for future. It should be $1 million, and it should include completed operations.
I was just looking at their KRS code and I'm not seeing exactly what their actual coverage says they have to have according to their codes. But I agree with you 100%, Tom.
It's been a long time since I've looked at that. Y'all may know, but we do have that written down in our requirements.
All right, we had a motion. Did we get a second on that?
We did, because we
Chris
had a motion and a second.
Okay, I was making sure. I was looking through the KRS code on that.
And again, that's all compliant, that they are meeting whatever our
Absolutely.
regs are, insurance-wise.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess notify them if not.
That's right.
If no further discussion, roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
There's noticed it.
Goodwin,
Good for you, Chris.
Wilcutt.
I'm gonna give you the accolades. Thank you.
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
I didn't even think to look at that. And that is one, guys, is too much for me.
All right, next up is number 9. Appoint Ann Crawford, Michael Harris, Harris Dawkins, Dr. William Ham, Tricia Campbell, and Scott Yates to the Logan Health Board.
So moved.
Second.
You don't want to know where their term expires? Term expiring 12/31/2025.
Is that how it works?
I have a motion and a second. Yes, sir.
Is Scott taking Jerry's?
Yes, yes.
I used to, but I don't think it matters.
You don't get compensated or nothing.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, that. I don't know about abstaining from my own appointment,
No, you're good.
or just say,
You get paid to vote, in my opinion. Okay?
okay. I was gonna say, what's
That's
the
just my
procedure here?
opinion. There's some
When
people
my
that,
name's on the line,
there was one guy here who would not vote if any issue, if they were any shape, form, or fashion related to them. Do you know how many abstentions he had? It was crazy. I mean,
He had a lot of tentacles.
I wouldn't be able to vote ever.
I would never vote.
I'm late
Same seat too, by the way.
Oh, that's too
I'm like,
funny.
goodness, man.
Okay, I just wondered what the procedure is when your name's on there. Okay.
I seconded that.
Okay.
Roll call, please. Thank you.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes, yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Next up is number 10, public road hearing for the purpose of adding 255 feet of Lewis Lane to the county road system. Is there
Is that
anyone
the one
here?
that's, is that Jason?
That's Jason.
All right, Jason told me, I talked to him yesterday, he said that everything checked out on it, so, like, they went and looked at it, and he said everything's, I mean, I think we've already determined that, but he said everything's good with it, so.
Yeah, I
I
think
make a
every-
motion to, add the 255 feet of Lewis Lane to the county road system. If nobody's here to oppose.
All right.
Going once?
No further discussion. Roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Number 11, public road hearing for the purpose of adding 1,070 feet of Hal Angel Road to the county road system. And I know that they had said that that road is in shape and ready to go. Isn't that right, Jamie?
Yes, it's in good shape.
Would you like to make a motion for that?
I'd like to make a motion to add Hal Angel Road to the county road system of 1,070 feet.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. No further discussion? And I assume there's no one here to argue or in favor of that, of the thousands in attendance today? If not, roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
And
Yes, sir.
doesn't become a road till we have a deed.
Exactly.
Okay, so somebody has to produce ownership, so we don't have the situation that the
Exactly.
family is having down at the lake. I mean, you gotta have the deed, and, you know, I took a road over, and it took them 4 years to get me the deed, 4 years. It was not a county road, even though you just voted on it. Until you physically own it, the taxpayer, physically own it, you can't do one thing to that road, nor by state statute does it become a road. Just because you did what you did right here.
Okay.
Somebody owns that 1,000 feet.
Yes.
Whoever owns that 1,000 feet, it is their responsibility to produce the deed and give it to Joe.
Okay. So the
They have to
owner-
pay for it. They
Owner
have to-
pays,
We
he
don't
does it
pay
all.
for that.
They do it, I mean, it's one person that owns it.
Okay, that makes it a
That makes it a
whole lot
whole
simpler.
lot easier.
So the
So
owner
that one
pays
person-
and does it all and provides.
Basically, the biggest expense is they have to get a survey, because every instrument has to have a legal description, and then they can take it to any attorney to have that turned into a deed. I typically do them very cheap for the interest of getting them moved forward, so if I can't find anybody to do it, I can do it in my private practice, but the big expense is always the survey for the legal description.
The only time we have an exception of that is if we have a plat, like a subdivision plat.
So, because they're already.
Right.
They're already-
They're already
The
been
deed's already been
Correct.
accepted, you know.
And we can
it's
use the
recorded
plat.
at Stacy's office and.
So we won't need to
Done.
do this if it's already been done and that they're just wanting to put a subdivision in something that's already deeded.
No, but the road has already been platted.
Okay.
Then you don't have to go through
You don't have
that
to go through
step.
this process,
But these
yeah.
two,
Okay.
for instances right here, you will have to go get a survey, a deed, and get it to Joe.
Absolutely.
The, basically, whenever a subdivision plat is accepted by the Joint Planning and Zoning Commission, we participate in that, so the county has to sign off and say the road is worthy. And once that
Being
is
used for
finally,
that. Okay.
yeah, once that is finally accepted up there by law, then we have to bring it on to ours, and we typically do that by formally voting on it. So
Okay,
if they're not a platted subdivision, then it's their responsibility for the description and the deed, and then it becomes ours after.
So the road has to be in before we do that?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay, okay.
Because we don't want to take bad roads.
Right, okay, sounds good. All right.
All right. Number 12, discuss proposed plans for the Logan County Animal Shelter. On your drive, you should have some in there. Let me catch up. You know, since the beginning of this meeting, when the Humane Society showed up,
Sorry.
I would like to, what's that?
No.
Oh, sorry. I would like to actually just give you guys some updates of what happened in my proposed plan on trying to get some of this taken care of. I've spoke to most of you on the phone, but I figured it's time to do it. Since we've talked, we have hired a director. Mr. Derek Tusanot. I can't say his name. Tusanot. Yeah. He is very eager to get involved, to do what needs to be done, and has started on that. So what my proposal is to create a full-time position and 2 additional part-time. After Eric and I spoke, a full-time employee, which is currently Mary Sheets, move her to that full-time employment and hire 2 additional part-time employees. This, we believe, will save a little bit doing hiring them as part-time versus full-time at this point. All the money will be coming out of my budget. We have found the money with a little bit of help from we have found the money. Now, one thing I want to ask is for emergency requests. I'm going to request emergency from you guys that I can go ahead and hire Mary Sheets and just move her as a full-time employee.
She's part-time though, I think.
Well, we hired her a few months ago to basically watch over the shelter. Her responsibility was to get the inmates, bring them out, be over them for cleaning and such, just as a emergency, because we had no one else that was willing to do it. Previous to all this mess at the shelter, Eric and Jason and myself had met. We came up with a plan. Eric said he wouldn't be able to start till after the first of the year. The timing actually worked out. He's been out there since, well, he was out there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and he has been pretty much watching over, learning, and has come up. He and I sat and spoke yesterday, and we've decided if we can get away with this versus, I originally was going to ask for 2 full-time employees, but he has come to the conclusion if he could get 1 full-time, which is Mary, which she has done a wonderful job. She has worked her behind off out there. And we would like to hire 2 additional part-time employees.
How many hours will be, are we
20
talking for the part-time?
24.
24 hours?
And this is through June, I see on this plan.
Yes,
So from now to
and,
June.
and next for next, this will get us through to the next budget season until we can figure out a better plan. With Eric out there taking care of that, I can back off. I know a lot of this social media was thrown directly on me, and that's okay if that's what they want to blame without knowing the full understanding of what was going on. That's fine. You got to blame, somebody's got to be blamed, and I'll take the blame. But at this point, Eric and I we're going to be working together. He will work to implement his plan for the shelter, which from what I've seen is pretty good. And once we get a full plan put together, you guys will be the first to get it. Some of his things is to reduce the population at the shelter by 50%, but as you heard, it's kind of hard to do right now. Build a relationship with other animal shelters and rescue and adoption agency. That's how we're going to try to do that, and also foster families for these animals. Work with putting volunteers back into the system, working what volunteers we can, using community service workers when available, building a relationship with all of our area veterinarians. Some of the stuff that was neglected to say is that the previous people at the shelter burn a lot of bridges. And anytime we mention Logan County, they throw their hands up and don't want to help. So Eric's job is going to be to go build those relationships again. Well, build a relationship and help them understand that we're not the people that were there.
Okay.
The other thing that I'm going to encourage Eric to do, and one of the things that we've talked about, is maybe trying to see if we can get inmates back in the facility for cleaning and whatnot. And that's a bridge that we're going to have to build there also.
The inmates
Yes, ma'am.
going in, they were stopped for the purpose of, they have to have someone there to monitor, is that why?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was causing some of the overtime thing?
that was causing some issues, yes, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
No, it
And
wasn't causing overtime. Shouldn't have been.
Shouldn't be.
Overtime wouldn't have been a factor in the animal shelter, correct?
it shouldn't have been, but at one point, we had an employee from the jail was watching over, so it could have affected a little bit of overtime there. Yes, you're absolutely correct. When Mary was getting them herself, that was not the issue.
Okay, that was my question.
There was some things that have happened. The inmates are not there anymore. That's fine. We're trying to rebuild those bridges so we can get these inmates
Yeah,
out
if
there
they
because
want to,
we
I think that would be-
desperately need the help.
Yes.
So, when you say rebuild,
Well, you get to,
when you
you
say
get, you
rebuild
get to
that
do at least two
bridge,
more votes.
Yes.
are you talking about with Josh?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that-
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, Josh took a stand and basically had made his commitment as long as the Humane Society was out there. He didn't want his inmates out there, and I can't say I completely blame him.
Well, he thought they'd get blamed, I
I
think.
want to help, and we want to
Y-
help
yes.
the county, but they've got to be watched. And
Exactly.
they went through the training just like anybody else does. When it's not a deputy watching them, they get the do's and don'ts. They get a list of rules that they sign off on. They watch a video over manipulation and what occurs or what
Exactly.
occurred, and they know what to do and what not to do.
Exactly.
And they weren't watching them, and we had issue after issue after issue, and the county takes a risk on the state pulling all our inmates if we're not following the Department of Corrections guidelines.
Absolutely.
on work
Yeah,
release,
that's a good
then
call.
we don't get them.
Good call.
Do what you gotta do.
Well, you know,
But we gotta fix that.
I know.
We have
Well,
got to
and
fix
with this being a total
appreciate you.
county-run facility, that's going to take the Humane Society out of it, out of this section of the plan, and that is our plan.
Well, we're, at this point, I think we've made it pretty clear, we've severed our relationship.
Absolutely.
Fiscally with Humane Society. I wish them well.
Exactly.
But,
Agreed.
we just have to move forward on our own. That's why, whatever you need to make it run properly. We function.
We are hoping that this plan will get us through till we
Say
can
whatever, Tyler.
get us through for the next few months. Well, if you're gonna say whatever, I mean, no, we're hoping that this plan will get us through at least till next budget year where we can set a realistic budget. You know, we've only been in this for less than 5 months. And we went into a lot of unknowns. We set money aside that we didn't know how much money we need. We didn't know the amount of staff that we needed, and we have got caught. Now it's our turn to correct this, and we are going to correct this.
I would much rather us have a contract with the Humane Society. I wish that could have continued on, but
Correct.
that's just not possible.
But that was,
But
may have
maybe-
started great, but it ended wrong.
Well, so how, going forward,
Yes.
the relationship with the Humane Society and this facility, what does that look like?
Their plan, and Jason may want to speak on this, their plan is to have their own facility pretty soon. And once that happens, I think that will eliminate a lot of problems, because right now you've got 2 different entities
In the
in
same
one
place.
facility, and no one is taking and unfortunately, the responsibilities are not being put in the right place. There's a lot of, that's their responsibility, no, that's your responsibility.
But
Until that time, we are going to set some guidelines that have not been set in the past.
new building they're looking at?
No, not nothing in stone.
So-
So one of the big problems we've had with the county and the Humane Society being under the same roof is the delegation of responsibilities. And it's sometimes the Humane Society is doing stuff that the county should be doing. Because, I mean, it's you scratch my back, I scratch your back, and it's just the people in that building has just been making it work for the time being. But ultimately, the goal for the Humane Society is to have an adoption center and focus on adoption. Focus on pulling animals, moving animals, and
Correct.
taking owner surrenders, because that's something the county does not have to deal with is an owner surrender. That's the Humane Society's deal. Cats are the Humane Society's deal.
Okay.
So just the division of delegations and responsibility is something that we've got to iron out.
Absolutely.
We've met, and it's getting closer, and the judge's new plan is,
You're happy with it?
yeah.
Well, it's a step in the right direction.
Right. Yeah.
The only thing I'm not sure about is the emergency hire stuff. I mean, I think we still need to go through the process.
We have got to have somebody out there. If I do not hire her today, we have nobody out there. I mean that's just the honest truth.
You're talking about Mary
Can we-
Mary, she's
I mean,
already
I don't know
working
what
out there. I've got to have
What's
her.
the rules and the laws on emergency? Can we just hire somebody without going through, we've approved fiscal court appointed positions. We have X amount of positions that we have to have a first reading and second reading on. Are we going to start that today to go ahead and put that for the rest of this fiscal year? Or what's the plan on that part of it?
Basically, what I was telling him to do is if he feels that he needs it and he doesn't have anybody, I mean, you all are the people that would complain, but if he feels like he needs to have it, he's going to bring the job descriptions and all that in the coming months to get that formalized, but you all could author, I mean, she's already a part-time employee, correct?
Yes.
So basically, all you would be doing is authorizing him to allow her to work full-time between now and getting all of that passed.
Formalization.
Correct.
But we probably
Yes.
do need to have a first reading today on that.
I just want to see, Tyler, three things happen in maybe this order. That whatever we agree upon, A, what has to be done today? And it's probably what he's asking for right here.
That's what
We
he
may
said.
need to tweak it a little bit.
Correct.
But we're gonna approve that, boom, that's done. Two, I wanna know, and this is, I hope nobody takes this personal, but I wanna know tomorrow, which is Wednesday, who's going to be in there in control?
Eric.
Okay? I can't comprehend having, and this is nothing against the current, but because of the past problems, I can't comprehend that Logan County Humane Society is in that building tomorrow, okay? So that's two. And then three, I wanted to see us, and all I can think about is business model. What is going to be our business model
Understood.
after A is taken care of, which is today, B is taken care of, which is tomorrow, and C, what is going to be our business model of moving forward? Now, I know there'll be big things that'll probably happen next budget year, but I'm talking about starting, February and moving forward. Hopefully by the end of the month, the judge and staff have these things that he's got written down accomplished. The care, the control, which is first. B, get the population down real good. C, I think we've already mentioned to the sheriff. We are in no place to be taking in anything other than an emergency situation.
Exactly.
Okay? A loose dog running wild. We have no reasons to be taking a cat. We're not statutorily required. We're not equipped. Now, maybe in the future, we'll talk about that, but I'm telling you today, we don't have the staff, the money, or the training to do that. If we can get A and B done, I think Jailer Toomey would see a little more comfortability that there is the oversight and control that he feels, because it's his neck on the line. I wouldn't send him out there either. But now that I know it's a county employee, I got somebody to go,
Exactly.
kick the desk a little bit and say, hey, Judge, this ain't, this guy ain't overseeing to the requirements. But I want to see those three things agreed upon before I vote. I'm for spending money, but I ain't spending money until we'll agreement. I'm not going to spend money if we ain't got a plan. And I want to know that this is what's going to happen, and come Wednesday, 8 a.m., who's in that building? I don't see any reason why Logan County Humane Society needs to be in that
I
building.
think that for sure.
I have to answer to that.
Okay.
Okay, so this is something the seven of us need to understand. So Wednesday, 8 a.m., the Humane Society's not in that building.
Okay.
Okay. Now the county has no dog bowls, no cages, no outside cages, no small kennels, anything that's not nailed down is no longer. We walk into an empty building with 70 dogs. Yeah, because that equipment's owned by the Humane Society. We have no medication, very little. I mean, very little.
We have more. Yeah, we have some.
No dog food, dry or whatever it is. We have no dog beds. We have no catch. We have absolutely nothing tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock when we walk in there.
Yeah,
So that
yeah, and that's an absolute
another
shame because the
emergency
people that donated that stuff donated it to the animals, not the Humane Society. But that's the bridge we have to cross.
Well, I mean, but that's the reality of what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
I guess I'm just talking about personnel. I'm
Okay.
just saying because of the tension
Right.
and the negativity through, y'all know me, I ain't much on social media, but the negative, it is what it is, whether it was the front page of the paper or the social media aspect. There seems to be a misunderstanding of how we're gonna correct the problem. It shouldn't be through social media. It's not good for the animals. We've already seen tensions get heated in here today, and who wins in that? Nobody. And so all I am saying is personnel wise, for a day or two, Eric and Mary, and if we approve another part-timer or two, need to develop a routine, and then they can say,
Absolutely.
hey, who from the Humane Society personnel, I'm only talking about personnel, can come in here and volunteer and help. And then guidelines could be set and training could be set. And, maybe it's, you don't have anything to do with county inmates. Only Eric and this person does. Whatever. I mean, I'm just making that up. I mean, somebody needs a week to develop that.
Agreed.
SOP
Agreed.
is what we call it. Standard Operating Procedure. And right now, I do not think there needs to be but one personnel entity in there, and that is the Logan County.
What the judge and myself has envisioned is what you're saying. We've got
Exactly.
a director set in place.
Mhm.
He's in charge. Everyone that steps foot on that property, because it's the Logan County Animal Shelter, answers to him. And then he delegates what needs to be done, aside from the cat situation. Okay? So, Eric's in charge, and I think if we add these employees, because right now with Eric and one other, the dog population just can't be handled. So we got to get some employees in there, and I think the part-time employees is the key to this, because like Tyler said, in 6 months we may see that we don't need all those positions and they're part-time employees, and we can just move them in or out. But I think we have to implement these positions today moving forward and get people hired to get it cleaned up.
I think what's
I agree with
presented.
you if we can agree to the other two things.
Well,
I
agree
think
with you.
the positions that, we need today is 100% true. We need that. We just gotta, I want to make sure we're going through the proper procedure.
Oh, I totally understand. I've got a set of SOPs, standard operating procedures, that I have given Eric. That for the past 2 months, I have been researching, talking to, and this is the stuff that nobody has seen, but I've been talking to other facilities, trying to get my mindset around how they do it. This is something new, totally new to me. I don't know how everything works. I'm trying to find it. I found a set of operating procedures that I've given to Eric. He is studying them, and we think that between he and I and the discussion we had, we think that we can adapt these. So I'm hoping by our first February meeting, or maybe even sooner, we have a strategic plan for this facility.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
now, at what point, because I'm gonna be asked this, I'm sure that my phone's already full. Right after this, I've got to be able to answer.
Yes, ma'am.
With this new director, Mr. Tosanon, is that his name?
Tucson.
Tucson, French, I don't speak French.
It's French,
Here we
yes.
go. Mary Sheets and 2 part-times. Have they got
It'll be
those
3 total part-time. We already have approved 1 part-time position.
Currently have
And
one.
I apologize,
Oh,
I didn't put that on that,
Oh,
but
I
yeah.
see now, currently have 1. So we're talking about, if we okay that today, we've got a director, an assistant director who will be full-time.
Yes, ma'am.
We've got 3 part-times after we vote today, and they will be unfortunately responsible for cleaning things up,
Correct.
at which point the Humane Society people will be welcome to come in. What point will they, because I'm going to be asked, when do the Humane Society people feel like they can come in?
I
Do you have a
can't-
date?
When do they feel like they can come in?
Yeah, because I'm hearing Wednesday, that's tomorrow morning. I'm
Yeah.
hearing, at what point can they feel comfortable that they can come in and see what's happening?
At
Because
this point,
otherwise, I
at this
think
point, and let me say
They're gonna
this,
say, "Give us
and
our
let me
dates."
say this, on Saturday, I was out there all day with a great group of volunteers. From what I've seen, the Humane Society, all of that had started all that trouble and is finishing that trouble, they're out of the picture at this point. At this point, the amount of volunteers that we had out there Saturday was one of the greatest group of volunteers I've ever seen. They came out with a very we want to help mentality. And they did their job. They didn't stand around and point fingers and point blame. This new group did. So as far as that, I would really, honestly, would love to see, instead of calling them Humane Society volunteers or animal shelters, just straight volunteers that come out there that aren't there to say, so that one person can direct them only to one facility's need, one side of the facility's needs. What we need is Eric totally in charge of all facility. They need that, but they also need to come in, and that's why we need Eric out there in charge. That's why I put him in charge, because he understands that his job needs to be, number one, directing people, and number two, taking care of all these things that we've talked about.
Okay, two more things.
Yes, ma'am.
Can it be said publicly that we are grateful for the facility amenities that the Humane Society has
absolutely.
there for this transition? Because right now, Jason was exactly right. I did not realize that everything that we use out there belongs to the Humane Society, correct?
Has been donated.
It's been donated.
Has been donated for the Humane Society.
Because they've occupied the building since
Okay.
day one.
Yes.
So I think it needs to be said publicly, we are so grateful.
Oh, we're absolutely
for
grateful.
all
There
these
has
things.
been the out between the volunteer work and the food and all the different things that have been donated is absolutely overwhelming. It's spectacular. We spent Eric and I spent an hour on Saturday just trying to find places to put all this stuff. That is great. I want to make sure people know that we need volunteers out there. We need help. You love these animals, you care about them, come out there and help us with them. Now, with that being said, as long as the county owns the building and we have the animal control or the animal care, then Eric is in charge.
Okay, and did you say that I hopefully didn't misunderstand that you've already allocated funds for this?
I did.
And so
I
you don't have to
allocated
worry about it.
allocated some emergency funds
Okay.
to take care of basically what it boiled down to was on Friday before this wonderful Facebook post happened. I had already allocated $2,000 for medication to all these animals. We knew the need. We were working on it.
I'm looking at your
Yes,
list
ma'am.
here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so, yes, that's what that emergency money was. It was for medication, and it really wouldn't call it emergency. It really came out of their budget, but
Okay.
some of it.
Well, that,
So in essence, Humane Society members are still welcome volunteers.
that's what Phil just said. He doesn't want it divided.
Yes, absolutely.
And I totally agree.
Yeah.
Dividing is part of the problem.
Absolutely.
think
Now, just for everyone to be clear, that at this point, the only thing as far as the emergency side of this, the only thing I'm asking for at this point is for Mary to make her full-time. That's the only emergency action. The two part-times will be once we go through the due process.
Basically, she can operate under her description she's in now. It's more of just authorizing the
Well, I totally,
wage and hour stuff like that.
totally agree with
I
this.
think we would be fine in
And
terms of
her
that.
salary is not exorbitant.
We've already got the job descriptions.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yes.
we could go ahead, all we're changing is the number of positions. So we could go ahead and add a first reading on the new number of employees we need, right?
Yes.
Of the part, we'll have to.
Well, we got. so
Well, no,
basically-
we've totally rewrote those job descriptions, and we need to bring those to court to redo those.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, you might just wanna roll with what we got, because what he's saying is
I'll say
that we
it's
could
okay.
change it from just one part-time and one full-time to two full-time and three part-time, and then handle the changes
We can do
later.
the changes later. Like, we can do 2 readings on changes at some point, but right now, we just need the number of employees that we
Basically,
can
he's
hire.
saying that you
Right.
would amend the ordinance, and the only thing that would change in it would be the number of people.
Okay. I mean, I'd
Because
be
now
grateful to do that.
Part of the
Absolutely.
personnel, part of the personnel, policy, when we vote on the salary schedule, we now have that sheet of number of employees. So I mean, we just need to, I had it pulled up.
Yeah, it's right here.
The,
Well, I really appreciate this rundown right here, Phil. Did
Yes,
you
ma'am.
make this?
Yes.
This rundown of where every bit of the money goes and came
Oh,
from?
no, I'm sorry.
Is that
Our
Amanda?
treasurer did that.
Well, this is great, because when you have this kind of thing in your face where you see where everything goes, you see where it goes, how long it's supposed to last,
Yes, ma'am.
that's exactly what gives us a standing to be able to tell people, this has been carefully
Yes, ma'am.
monetized.
Absolutely.
And researched.
And
So,
that's why I have the best treasurer in the state.
well, thank you for making this happen, because this is wonderful right here. I'm looking at it. I can't imagine me not voting for that all the way. So,
okay.
let's make a motion.
So our current Logan County Fiscal Court approved positions, which is part of our personnel policy, we have 1 animal shelter director.
Correct.
And we have 1 animal shelter assistant part-time. And we have job descriptions that are associated with each one. So we're leaving the animal shelter director to 1, obviously.
Yes.
But I'll make a motion to have a first reading on changing the number of approved positions as part of our personnel policy.
Yep.
Amendment to our personnel policy to change the animal shelter assistant part-time to 3 from 1, and then adding a new
Full-time.
animal shelter assistant full-time 1.
Yep.
So that's my motion to.
I second that totally.
Did you get that, Olivia?
Is that okay, Joe? We do
Yeah.
that? Okay.
But, and then
That
just
was
include in
just
that,
exactly what I
Right.
would have.
include in that you're also
Saying, but you
authorizing
know,
him to go ahead and work the 1 part-time position, full-time hours until the second reading.
Okay, that's part of my motion.
Okay.
Good.
I think we got that. Is everybody got clear on this?
Is that a 6-month commitment at this point?
Yeah, to June.
Well, yeah, anything
Yeah.
at this point through this budget cycle, so, yeah. I think regardless, I think he's being very conservative on the number of employees because,
I am. I really am.
because, I could see 1 full-time additional and 3 part-time, that's minimum. And they may be able to make it work. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's very possible.
They're gonna do the best they can with what they're given,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be okay. Now, that's not gonna say that come budget time, I don't come back asking, because, I've told you, I've talked to a lot of different shelters across the state of Kentucky, some in Tennessee, and when I told them the amount of animals we were dealing with and the amount of employees, they laughed and said, I don't know how you're doing it. And I guess we know the
Well,
answer
this
to
is a
that.
start,
Yes, ma'am, it sure
and
is.
that's all we can do.
You still gotta keep in mind that we're a 7-day facility. And
Correct.
holidays, 365
Correct.
days a year, which the sheriff's department, the judge, or in the jail is too.
Absolutely.
So they get it, but, we've still gotta have a plan to get rid of the animals, because we're not a jail for animals, we're just a facility where they come in and go out to a better home.
Hopefully.
So,
Correct.
So what he's saying
so what I'm saying
is that we need the transition to the next phase.
is our hiring these people is gonna give our director breathing room to work with rescues and other agencies to move these animals.
Absolutely.
He's not a
So,
full-time cleaning guy.
Yes.
His job's not to go down there and even monitor people that's cleaning. His job is to
Facilitate the big
facilitate
picture.
everything,
Yep.
including moving the animals, whether it's through the Logan County Humane Society or 50 other rescues that we're going to
Okay.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Okay.
And thank you.
We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any other discussion? If no further discussion, roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes. Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. Thank you all. I do appreciate you. And once again, if anybody's out there listening and you've got time to volunteer, if I could get 100 people to volunteer 2 hours a week, that would take so much. And honestly, I've spent a bunch of time out there. We got a lot of great dogs. Anybody wants a dog, please come get it. There's some great dogs out there. I'd take about 30 home with me if I could, but my wife would probably kill me, and
Well, you know, several
Travis
people-
would probably be chasing them again. So
Several people call and say, I'd volunteer, but I don't want to go into a hornet's nest.
there's no hornet's nest out there at this
It's
point.
done.
Everything
It's
is
over.
good.
Okay.
We have a new director, Eric. That go see Eric. If you can't, just ask for Eric. Don't try to pronounce his last name.
Okay.
You'll. It's not worth it.
Judge,
With an A.
hey, I want to ask.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want
Sir.
to ask a follow-up question about.
Yes, sir.
The
Yes, sir.
plan and
So they still
employees.
can, right? Okay.
Can you explain, I guess, a little more about where the animal control officer falls into this facility and this plan?
Well, at this point, his job is, as I said, animal control. He spends a lot of time investigating and chasing and such. At this point, Sheriff, you want to help me with this one?
Yeah, when originally the job description was wrote, that was wrote as one person filling two roles as a director and animal control. So if you remember, we split that, I think maybe August,
Correct.
because that one person can do both jobs. So when you read the job description, it literally says AC and HR of Humane Society, or the shelter. So that is something that'll need to be changed, because I think perception is that he's supposed to clean the shelter. When Travis started, he spent the first 2 weeks at the shelter cleaning, and Jason and him got a dumpster. He helps them when he can, but he's not going to clean the shelter. That's not his responsibility. There's an issue of contamination and crossing, and that's been brought up. I'm not too worried about that. You're going to come across that anyway, but I don't want Travis to be, the finger's already been pointed that he's not cleaning the shelter, and that's my fault, and I failed the shelter and all that, and that's absolutely absurd. Travis was very much out there their first couple
Yeah,
of
he comes on
months.
weekends after that.
He comes out on weekends. There's times he comes out on the weekend and doesn't even clock in to get paid for it. And he's not required to be 24 hours, 7 days a week. He can't do that. Although there is some expectation that he should. But
That was agreed upon when we hired that
yeah,
position.
and and that's not a fuss at anybody in there here. That's just more information for those listening or reporting. But that is something that I'm going to bring up later as we move forward. Administrative codes and things are
Correct.
subject to be changed. But the judge, Travis, has come out and helped when he can. And we're going to continue to do that. But it is not his responsibility to totally.
Correct.
If he's not picking the dog up clean. So,
But as far as his day-to-day deal, I guess, for the magistrates and the public to know is, he responds to every call
complaint
and follows up with them, investigates, and he has been doing some transports from the shelter to like the vet's office.
If they need transport, he goes and transports to the vets and brings them back. He helps with everything he can. It's been pointed out that he's not cleaning, and that's
yeah. Well, we want to make sure the public knows that that's not his responsibility. It's
Yes.
He is getting a lot of advice, and again, I do want the court to know he goes extremely above and beyond.
Agreed.
Travis is a golden ticket to what we need as animal control, and I probably could not do that, is what he does, because he is very adamant about doing that job.
Absolutely. He's been very, very helpful over this past few weeks.
Well, he really is. It's, AC is either gonna sink me or it's gonna keep me floated, and I'm trying to keep it floated. That's my approach, because he's a deputy sheriff doing animal control officer's job. That's his goal.
One last thing I want to say about it, and hopefully we can move on. So, we now, after this motion, we spend $160,000 a year in payroll on animal control, okay? moving forward, anything moving forward needs to be done with the help of the jail and county inmates. It is good for the jail. It makes inmates happy. They like to be out. A happy inmate is a better housed person to deal with. It also looks good on that inmate when they can say, hey, I was incarcerated for a year, but I worked and I paid back to society, and it looks good on a resume. It lets an employer know. There's all kinds of good benefits to that, and I don't blame Josh one bit for not having anybody out there. But we got to do whatever's necessary to take this $160,000 in payroll, that the right pieces are in place, that he is comfortable allowing people back out there to do the work. We should not be doing that with taxpayers' money. We have spent enough, okay? And I know that's a thing that can quickly, and I'm just talking about on labor, okay? $160,000 on labor is enough, okay? We should be, you'd have a hard time convincing me to spend more money. I'm probably gonna be a no vote if y'all come ask for another position, okay? 160 grand is a boatload of money.
Well, I guess I know what I'm not bringing up next meeting.
I get you, but just to put on the record, it costs the Humane Society $300,000 a year to run the shelter. So if we do it for the 160, then we've.
I understand,
done
but their
well.
business model is different than ours.
Mhm.
They're in a different
Right.
business than we are, Jason. They are the ones that need to be doing that, and they probably were underfunded. They probably needed $750,000, but they're a different business model than what we are. We are to follow state statutory guidelines. That is the business we're in. For what I see right here, right now, for as far as I can see. When we start doing things better and start generating different things, then I'll be glad to sit down and talk to you. But for the foreseeable future, I'm gonna be a hard no vote on any other money going to labor
I think you're good.
past
I don't think you'll have to.
$160,000. I have a hard time with that with all the other people that come up to me and ask, hey, I'd like for you to give me a little money, protect children, and do this and do that. Man, I gotta turn them down. They want $2,000 or $3,000. You know,
I think this plan, I think we're on track.
we gotta draw the line. Everybody needs to know where the line's at.
If it costs them $300,000 to run their part, where are they getting the other? Donations. Simple donations.
And that's what I'm saying. In the future, when everything's running good, hopefully we can bring those resources back together for the good of the animals.
We can.
For
Tyler
the
hit the
good
nail
of
on
the
the head.
animals.
These women, regardless of their presentation today, they are dedicated to making it work.
Oh, that was
I agree.
And you'll see,
I agree.
Absolutely.
That was absolutely.
I agree. I
We
mean,
need
we've had
that
several
passion.
meetings, so.
We need that passion.
There's only one way to go, and that's up.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, speaking of only one way to go, yes, sir, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna pass along as the fiscal court rep, any financial information, I would like, if you make that available to us.
Okay. Like
You know, the way they're talking about audits and financial reports, and I just think it's just a step in transparency.
Agreed.
I like, do you have a better
Yeah.
understanding of just what you just said?
Well, that's
Financial
that's the
picture.
plan in the next few months is to get an audit of the.
I just requested if you would to share it with us.
Yeah, I will.
Agreed. Number 13, approve to reappoint Lloyd Houchins to the East Logan Water Commission for a 3-year term to expire on 1/8/27.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. No further discussion. Roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Abstain.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. All right, we finally made it to.
Judge, I just,
Yes, sir.
sorry, point of information about similar to what we just did, on the list of water district and
Yes.
commissioners. Just, you might update your role there that Jim Wilkerson's listed there, but
Oh,
John Dawson took his position.
Took Jim Wilkerson.
Oh, iPod's dedicated.
But of
Okay,
course,
well-
Mr. Wilkerson passed away here in the last day or two.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
John Dawkins is the current member of
Okay.
that position.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next, let's move on to the treasurer's report. Finally getting there.
Man, why'd they put you at the end? That's kind of unusual.
Right?
Well, because.
This is just the middle of the meeting.
Oh, we're just starting, guys. We're gonna.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, I should have brought lunch.
Somebody order pizza.
You didn't let us order.
Okay, so what I have on the tablets for you today is our quarterly financial statement ending December 31st, 2023, as well as the appropriation condition report, a list of outstanding encumbrances, and the third-party financial statement. As of December 31st, 2023, the balance in the general fund was $1,991,861.58. Road fund, $1,060,186.23. Jail fund, $221,605.04. LGEA, 11,304.13. Federal grants fund, 54.68. Solid waste recycling, 459,643.76. Parks and Rec fund, 1,277,191.84. Occupational tax, 6,344,994.90. Life skills, 157,271.88. 911 fund, 241,697.57. Health insurance fund, 764,755.62. County clerk storage fee, 61,995.29. ARPA funds, 4,222,475.79. National Opioid Settlement Fund, 155,845.97. Special Reserve Fund, 4,293,152.77. For a total of all funds, 21,264,037.05.
So acknowledged.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second. Second.
No discussion? Roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Okay, so the next thing on your iPad will be a list of budget transfers that we need to get approved. No, this is just regular budget transfers.
Okay, I see.
If y'all s-
17.4.
If y'all
Right.
swipe over.
Yeah, it's a total of $56,180.15.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the transfers as presented.
Second.
Have a motion, and a second? No further discussion? Roll call, please.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Give me 1 second. Okay, all right, I know. Yes,
Baker.
Yes.
I was a little slow getting there. I wasn't questioning. I just wanted to read it.
So, I did this list of budget transfers. I did not want to put them on that other list because I didn't want to assume that everything with the animal shelter plan was gonna pass. So, since you all did do the first reading, I don't know, like, if you want to go ahead and approve this list of budget transfers.
I think so.
I do too.
And those, are those the same ones that were on the?
They're the same ones that
Okay.
are on your iPad.
Yeah. Make a motion to approve the budget transfers presented for the animal shelter, the amounts as presented.
I second that.
I have a motion, and a second. Do I have any further discussion?
So why is that different than what we just voted on, I guess, is what I'm asking. We had the 15,933 that was transferred from, reserved, that amount was.
So that amount is for the one part-time position that you all had previously approved. And then we need $4,000 for animal shelter supplies.
Okay.
And $3,533.23 for animal shelter cleaning supplies.
And the, part-time assistant,
Yes,
was 8,400.
yes, for the rest of the fiscal year for the one that we had previously approved.
Okay.
So then for the additional ones that you all voted on, what is on that second sheet is what we'll need.
The 47,875.
Yes.
Okay, yep.
So do I have a motion? Did I get a motion?
I think you've already got the motion.
Sorry,
Damn, isn't that right, Olivia?
Okay,
Yes. We got both.
there was a whole lot of dead space in there, sorry. With that being said, no further discussion, roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
And the last piece of good news that I have for you is I have one cash transfer today. And we need to transfer $15,000 from the Occupational Net Profits Tax Fund to the LGEA fund.
So moved.
Second.
There we go, thank you. I have a motion and a second. No further discussion, roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
You're looking for this one?
Number 14, I forgot what it was. Lloyd
Who's saying?
Oh,
Crawford,
yes,
sorry.
I
thought you were talking about it. Bolden,
That's all right.
Yes.
Baker.
It's not.
Yes.
That's all I have for you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Amanda, for sticking around. Do we have any reason to go into executive session?
There's no 14, it's 13.
If not, let's move on to post-agenda. I have a couple of things that I need to bring up. I want to put together a animal shelter committee. And I would like, if it's okay, for Chris and Jamie to be part of that committee with myself.
Remind
For
me,
reason.
Jamie, what exactly that consists of doing?
Showing up for a meeting every now and again, or
Put your head on
just
that
helping
shelter.
me make some of these decisions that have been solely placed on my shoulders. How about that?
Chris is smiling.
I
You
thought
got that.
animal shelter was sit in Tyler's district.
Yes, that makes it a conflict of interest, so. Do we need a motion for that, or do we just need to acknowledge that committee?
You usually vote on it.
Yeah, it's vote.
So I need a,
So move.
You was quick on that.
That was fast.
Second.
okay, if no further discussion, all in favor of Jamie and Chris being on this, animal shelter committee, roll call, please.
Davenport,
I don't know why I didn't do.
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Wilcutt,
What else you gonna do?
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford, Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Expecting an abstain.
Now, with that being said, I also want to put together a E911 committee. And
I'll
what-
be glad to be on that committee, unless you've already got somebody else.
Well, I would prefer,
Okay, no
I
problem.
didn't mean it that way. I've just already had two people on my mind. Sorry, they've both dealt with it in the past. And it's just gonna be either, they've got a better understanding of what's going on at this
Okay.
point. It's nothing
No,
I
no.
wouldn't want you, because trust me,
No, it's
I'm gonna get
fine.
I'm gonna get you in just a second, so
You
we're
already got
okay.
me on the health committee.
Well, you're getting
Don't
something
even
else.
think about it.
We're gonna trade spots.
I would, my recommendation is Tyler and Thomas be on that
Okay,
committee.
hey, fine.
And so I need a motion from them.
Not a problem, I'll motion for it.
Second.
Hey, Thomas. Tyler.
She
And-
motioned, I second.
And Jason
Yep, we're good.
seconded.
Yep.
If no further discussion, roll call, please.
Davenport,
I realized
Yes.
there was some
Goodwin?
background there.
Yes.
Wilcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
No
Yes.
whatsoever.
Crawford,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes. I have nothing else, and of course Jason does.
I need to request a road hearing for adding 750 feet of woody trail to the county road system. It has passed evaluation after several tries. The landowners and the people on the road has spent a great deal of money getting it to where it needs to be, and I commend them for that. I think
Where's it at?
It's off of Jackie Dukes at Lake Malone.
Man, Lake Malone, boy.
Hey,
Goodness.
I'll trade you.
Goodness,
There's
all time there, ain't it?
5 houses on the road.
What's the name of the road?
Woody
Woody Trail.
Trail. The first time it was evaluated was in 2019. Actually, it might have been, Drexel might have had it evaluated in 18, then we reevaluated again in 19.
Didn't pass.
Yeah. So it's
Or told them what they needed to do, and they've done it in that time.
Is that on the Logan County side?
Yes. Yeah, trust me. It wasn't.
Huh?
It's for sure.
Woody Trail, 700 feet, so Jackie Dukes comes here and then spurs off.
I had one of your
It's
constituents
got a
ask me before the
loop
meeting,
in the
they wanted
back.
to driveway gravel.
We can do it. Right on that night.
And so
This
these
is-
people that's going through, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 property owners. They have all agreed to deed, and they understand that is gonna be a public road. I mean, it's going right across somebody's front door.
Uh-oh. The little lady that was here
I
earlier.
always like to make sure property owner knows, and this is the reason I'm very, very much against ever taking anything off.
Right.
You know, don't ask the taxpayer to pay for your road and then complain that there's traffic going across the front of your house. Because that is now a public road.
So would it not already have the proper right of way? I mean, I guess I need to check in.
You need to check in these people if you're adding, I don't know where it stops and starts, and it's hard to tell by the map. I could Google map it and get a better idea, but I'm not on Google Map.
But I mean, if it's already been
It's
valued.
752 feet. Of that 752 feet, all of those property owners have to deed whatever our current regulations are on widths and easements and all of that.
Well, like
Like
you said-
at one, the easement may get into their front door.
The first one on the right.
Linda Boone Woodall, or Woodley, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Woodley. Looks like if that's part of your 752 feet assessment. it's
He's
gonna-
asking, was that the first
it's
part of that
gonna-
road or the last part?
Well,
I seen it.
Is it the
We,
last?
I think we can go ahead and schedule a road hearing. We just don't have to vote on adding
Yeah.
it to the system.
Yeah. Let's.
Well, like I said, it's not gonna be adopted until the deed's done anyway.
Correct.
True, I just didn't want somebody to get here and then
Let me follow up.
nobody's followed up with a property owner and say, okay, you got to deed us that road, and you gotta go get the survey, and you gotta go get the attorney to do it, and you gotta present that to Joe, and boom.
So it's the same way with the Lewis Lane.
Yeah, I don't think you were here, but we had that discussion. You gotta go to those property owners, if it's more than one, and say, get the survey, get the deed. Although we just passed and voted on it, it passed. It does not become a county road until we take legal ownership of that property
Okay.
With a survey and a deed?
with a survey and a deed. You can vote on it
And
all
the
day
7
long.
landowners combined has to pay for the survey. If it's $1,000, they've got to pay for it.
It doesn't matter if one pays for
Okay.
it.
But it has to be.
But
paid
they all
for.
have to sign off on it. You know, that
Okay.
portion, if I counted right, I counted 9 on
Okay.
this one. All 9 of them. So you'd have 9 different deeds to turn in to him.
And we don't necessarily own all of it. They still have their property up to that. They just, we can destroy whatever if they build something
We
in the
have
right
the
of way.
easement.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, 10-4. We'll
And
just.
that easement's 15
Did you make a
feet
Yeah, so I
from the
made a
middle of the
motion
road?
and then
It's
I
a
got
lot
Lane
more than
Road.
that. I think it's,
40.
yeah, 40 or 50.
Still want to do the road
50,
hearing?
yeah, that's right, it's 50.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
now.
We'll still do the road
When I first
hearing.
came on.
Yeah. Did I
it.
second?
30, you know, went to court.
I don't think we got a
I'll
second on it.
second.
Okay.
And I got to do that on Lewis
We do
Lane.
that.
So who's Hal Angel?
Yeah, I understand, so they've got,
Is that you?
they can
And
put
all
it in there
that's
without,
taken care of?
yeah, without being interrupted.
Okay.
Just gotta get a deed. Yeah.
I have
She's
a-
gotta do the same thing.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any other discussion? If not, roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Goodwin,
Yes.
Milcutt,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
I did have one quick update, just because we talked about it quite a bit. The streetlight ordinance petition has been prepared. Galen Ball has that and is working on it. Penny Raw got us the last information we needed right before the new year, and he's picked it up last week, so.
Good.
Keeping
And
y'all
that's gonna
posted.
be paid for by the homeowners association, right?
Well,
Hey,
the-
repeat all
Property
that.
owners.
I'm sorry.
The streetlight ordinance, we have gotten the petition details finalized. They have that, and they're currently working on it. So if they get all the signatures they need, then we will have a hearing on it at the appropriate time after that, based upon getting it advertised.
And it's gotta be 100%
Right.
signature. So what reason is on the deed of the people who buy the property, it says after 60% of the subdivision sold, then the utility bill will be turned over?
They can say whatever they want. What the court has ruled is before
Okay.
you all are going to agree to accept it, you all want 100%.
This court ruled 100%.
Well, I mean, the past court did. Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a law that allows the court to pass an ordinance that does this.
So
When
at
you
some
all-
point, Logan County Fiscal Court passed that ordinance.
Right.
Correct.
To do that.
And you could have chosen less, but they chose more, and honestly, I think that as much as people love their property, it's a good idea to make sure you've got buy-in from everybody, because it binds all future property owners, so that's why I think they wanted 100%.
Okay.
Correct. Do we have anything else?
Good, thank you.
Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I get a second? All in favor, stand up and stretch. Thank y'all.